try and go live, there's some sort of technical issue, and it should be as simple as I'll have to set up as it's set up, and it should work. And it doesn't ever work, which is absolutely awful. So I'm so sorry that there has been a delay, but thank you so much for joining. I'm hoping that you will be able to hop over from the aborted attempt at going live, and we have to try and work this out one day, because it's just absolutely ridiculous that it keeps going wrong. But at least we are live now, and today is going to be the trip report, and it's going to be all about Disney World and Disneyland Paris. I am going to try and get up the little chat box, so if you have any questions or any comments, anything you would like to add about your visits to the parks, any upcoming visits you have, I would love to hear it. I also have some amazing questions, so it's going to be very exciting. And hi Louise, hi Alison, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for finding me after the craziness. It's just no fun. But hi Jamie, it's lovely to see you as well. And what a crazy month it has been with both Disney World and Disneyland Paris. I've never done 2 trips back to back like that. They were 12 days apart, and it was absolutely incredible. So we are going to deep dive into that today, and let you know all about it. I'm so excited because the Disney World vlog series has already started. The travel day has gone out. Day 1 is coming up on Wednesday, when we have both Epcot and Magic Kingdom. This was the most incredible first day I've ever done. It was unreal how much I managed to do, so I can't wait to share that. Hi Stevie, yes, technical issues are the worst, and it happens every single month. And I think I've cracked it, and then the next month it doesn't work, and I'm like, guys, how's this happening? It's no good. Hi Naira, lovely to see you. It's so exciting you're going to Disney World soon. It's the absolute best, isn't it, when you know you are almost there. So I hope you have the best time. Hi Lindsay, lovely to see you. And yes, it was the best month. It was absolutely unreal. And it's so interesting doing 2 trips to 2 completely different Disney destinations so close to each other. And I do think a lot of people worry, if you go to Disney World, will you then go to Disneyland Paris and really notice like a big difference, or think like, oh, this is so much smaller and things like that. And I didn't find that. I found it just as magical, and it's nice because you really do notice the differences between the parks, but then you notice kind of like the individual strengths between the 2. So both of the trips are absolutely incredible, and yeah, what an amazing month. It's just absolutely wild. It's been Disney packed, and what's nice is now I'm back, I am editing and I'm helping people plan their trips, so I'm still in the Disney bubble, which is absolutely incredible. Hi Jose, lovely to see you. I have not had any rest since the 2 trips. When I got back from Disney World, I was like, right, I need to go straight into preparing for Disneyland Paris, and I also had some dining to book. I had some Zoom consultations with people, so I was busy working away, and also getting all of the video compressed, ready to start editing Disney World. And I was like, I need to get at least 2 videos edited before I could go to Disneyland Paris. And then since I come back from Disneyland Paris, it's been non-stop. So it's been quite nice because it just feels very Disney and very exciting. But I'm like, I need a day off at some point. But I have to say, the Disneyland Paris trip was so relaxing. I visited in a way that I've never done before, where I was like, I'm not going in with big plans. It was kind of like, I want to enjoy the hotel, I want to see the Halloween things, like the parade, the Unlucky Nugget, and anything else is a bonus. And it was amazing. I've never visited Disney that way. Normally I'm like, let's see how much I can pack into every single day. But actually doing like a relaxing trip was so nice. And getting to really soak up the Art of Marvel Hotel was incredible. It was such a lovely hotel. It was so comfy. The art was amazing. The cast members were next level awesome. And it just had a really relaxed vibe there as well. And it's like, when you go to the other hotels, or the ones at least I've stayed in, they very much still feel Disney. And it's that excitement of the buzz in the air of everyone being busy because they're going backwards and forwards to the parks. Whereas this hotel is very chill. It was so relaxed. So that was so nice to experience. So that was a nice way to kind of relax and unwind. And it was just a dream. It was my dream resort to stay in at Disneyland Paris. I'm so glad I've got to stay there. Hi Tori, lovely to see you. Yes, the jumper. And it's really fun because it's got these like puffy sleeves. So it feels to me a bit like Disney meets Shakespeare, which I know it isn't. But it really reminds me of like Shakespearean clothing. which I think is hilarious. Maybe this is the next crossover we need. Disney do Shakespeare. That could be absolutely amazing. Hi Ben, lovely to see you. Thank you for joining. Hi Lillian. It's so nice that you've all managed to find me after the technical disaster. So thank you so much for persevering. I'm going to dive in with some questions because we had really great questions, and one of them was from the lovely Alison, and I thought this was a really fantastic question. And it is, how did the overall price of a short trip to Disneyland Paris compare to a week in Disney World on a £3,000 budget? And this is what I think is really, really interesting, because I often hear, particularly families, talk about, do I go to Disneyland Paris, or if I just save a bit longer, I could go to Disney World? And I always used to think, that's nuts. Like, my Disneyland Paris trips are always so much cheaper. However, obviously this trip, staying at the Art of Marvel Hotel, was more expensive. And from that, I can now see why people go, oh, if I just save a bit longer, I could go to Disney World. So I think it depends on where you stay and the things you do whilst you're there. So if you do a lot of table service meals, stuff like that, that will all add up. And then quickly, a short trip to Disneyland Paris can start costing like half the amount or maybe more to go to Disney World. So for example, I had kept saying for my 40th birthday, I think I'm going to try and stay at the Disneyland Hotel. So when the bookings went live at early September, I was like, I'm going to book it. I booked it and very quickly went, I don't think I'm going to stay. Because I booked the hotel for 2 nights plus 2 meals. So one at Auberge because it's going to have the princesses and Mickey at that point, and one for Le Table de Lumiere because I've never eaten there. 2 nights and 2 meals was over £1,700. So that's nearly 2/3 of the budget to go to Disney World for a week. So then I very started quickly thinking, I think I'd rather use the money to go back to Disney World. So I do think if you say somewhere like the Santa Fe and you stick to like quick service meals, stuff like that, Disneyland Paris is a lot cheaper. However, I do have to say the prices for next year have gone up massively. So my Santa Fe trip this year that I did in May for 2 nights was £360 for the hotel and the tickets. When I was pricing up next year, the same trip was like £550. The prices have gone up massively. Now, obviously, World of Frozen is opening, and I do think that will have an impact. But I think that's the thing. It's kind of like, because World of Frozen is opening, the trips to Disneyland Paris are getting more expensive. So actually, now it's kind of like, if you do save a bit longer, you probably could go to Disney World, depending on how you were going to visit Disneyland Paris. But it can easily, like, even a few days in Disneyland Paris can easily, once you add in flights, hotel, tickets, food, can easily cost £1,000. So, like, that, and that's maybe like a 3-day trip, 4-day trip. So when you start thinking it like that, you're like, oh God, maybe it is kind of pricey. But there are other options, like if you stay off-site and you have an annual pass, or you can get really good deals on tickets, that can be a really good option for Disneyland Paris. Whereas Disney World, I do love staying on site just because of the convenience. Because you can either use the free transportation, if you do have a car, it's free parking in the parks and the resorts. And I often think when you add up all of the extras, when you stay in Orlando off-site, like the resort fees, parking, transportation, etc., etc., it's probably not that much different. Whereas Disneyland Paris, it can be significantly cheaper to stay off-site, particularly if you have an annual pass. So it swings and roundabouts. But yeah, I can totally see now why people are like, Disneyland Paris trips can be almost as much as Disney World. Which is crazy, considering you'll be there for a much shorter length of time. Yes, Jamie, he is, which is very exciting. So people noticed when they started putting these stuff on sale for next year, the rooms and everything, you can book character dining at that time. And people kept seeing Auberge de Cinderella with the princesses and Mickey, and everyone was like, is this a thing? It's apparently a thing. It's a thing. And I think it's because Plaza Gardens is going to be undergoing a long renovation. So there's not going to be a character dining meal there. So I think they want a character dining meal with Mickey in the park still. So it perfectly makes sense he goes to Auberge. So that's going to be absolutely amazing. And that's starting next year. So I think that's going to be very, very good. But yes, Lindsay, the Disneyland Hotel is so lovely and the smell is gorgeous. The smell is amazing. And I do love how they do sell the candle and the room scent so that, like, if you want to take it home with you to live in it for a bit longer, you can. But it does look absolutely incredible. So I'm like, you know, we'll see how everything goes. I've still got like over a year So we'll see how everything pans out. But I definitely think in my 40th birthday year, I would want to go to Disney World. So I think I'll save towards that first. I've got the Disneyland hotel booked. I also did book the Art of Marvel hotel as a backup because I booked with the attraction tickets. It's only £25 deposit for each hotel. And I was like, and then closer to the time, we can work out possibly what we might do. But it's good to have options, isn't it? It's lovely to have options. Yes, Louise, I think Disney meets Shakespeare could be a new thing. I think it would be absolutely incredible. I mean, Shakespeare can be quite gory. I went to see Hamlet the other day, but you know what's so funny? I never studied Hamlet in school, and I've never seen it performed before. But I did know that The Lion King was based on Hamlet. So when I was first watching it, I was sat there going, I think that guy's Timon. I think that's Timon. And I was trying to work out who was each character in The Lion King, which was amazing. It was so good. Muppets do Shakespeare. This is the thing. This is what we need. The crossover. That would be absolutely amazing. Could you imagine Kermit and Miss Piggy being Romeo and Juliet? It would be perfect. It'd be so good. Yes, Alison, I think you're so right. The price is one of the reasons people see Disneyland Paris as the second-class citizen. And I think that can be the problem because when you go, okay, it's closer to us. However, if there's multiple of us and it's going to cost thousands of pounds, but it's a smaller destination, there's not as many rides and things like that, not as many parks, do we just go to Disney World and save up an extra year? And I totally understand that because, like, you know, if you're going to be spending a lot of money on holiday, sometimes you want to do, like, the longer trip, the bigger trip. So it totally makes sense. Oh, Rebecca is so excited you're going to Disneyland Paris for the first time in November and a solo trip. You're going to absolutely have the best time. And I think this is the thing that was really nice, actually, doing two trips close together, is Disneyland Paris does have so much charm. It's very, very beautiful as a park. And being so walkable was amazing because this is the first trip I came home and I didn't have any feet problems whatsoever. This is amazing. And like Disney World, I have to say, I was a new person. Out of the 7 park days, 5 of them, I did park home to park close. And I was like, who am I? Who have I become? And I have to say, the first, like, 3 or 4 days, I had no foot issues whatsoever. By the end of the trip, my feet were obviously tired. But nowhere near as bad as before. But Disneyland Paris, no feet problems at all. And it's such a joy being able to just pop between the 2 parks, go to Disney Village, go to the hotels. And I think that is such a great benefit. So I think you're going to have the best time. And depending on what time in November you're going to be there, Christmas may have already started, or it might be the end of Halloween. So that's very exciting. Jamie says, I do think, although much smaller, even the value resorts at Disneyland Paris are walking distance to the parks, which I think would be a deluxe at Disney World, and I don't think people often factor that into the pricing. And that is so true. Like I said, there's these different benefits, so it is so nice that all of the hotels at Disneyland Paris are so close. And I genuinely don't think there is a bad hotel at Disneyland Paris. So that is a really, really good benefit of staying at Disneyland Paris. Whereas, like you say, Disney World, the downside to Disney World is just how big it is and how far it takes to get everywhere. And that's why one of the reasons this trip I did hire a car. So even though I was like, I've got a set budget, I was like, I'm going to see how much I can get out of the trip. And the aim was to do the trip in a way that it was really enjoyable and maximise the time. And having the car definitely does that, because in Disney World, you can get everyone on site 15 minutes. However, if I was using the buses, they're fantastic because they're free, but it's easily an hour to get somewhere, an hour to get back. So if you wanted that afternoon break, not that I ended up doing it, but if you wanted that, it's a 2-hour round trip. And I was thinking, God, that is a lot of time to take out of a trip where you're only there for a week. And actually, when I priced up the prices of Uber to get to and from the airport, to go to the places that I wanted to go off-site, it wasn't much more actually to hire a car. So again, I think I wanted to show in the vlog series how you can manipulate the figures to have the sort of trip that you want and to get the most out of it. And it's all those things like I was saying earlier, staying off-site, you sometimes see a price that seems cheaper, but once you factor in all the costs, actually, it's not that much cheaper. Car hire versus transportation that you're going to purchase, sometimes it's not that different. I think it depends on the length of time you're going, the amount of people you have. But once you factor all these things in, you can kind of see, oh, actually, like, it isn't as bad as I was expecting, or like they're kind of similar prices, so let's just do the one we'd prefer or would maximize the time most. So that was very exciting. I can't wait to show you how the vlog series pans out, because the first couple of days I was like, I am going to be really conservative with money, because before leaving the UK, I'd already spent 79% of the Disney World budget. And I was like, I think it was like £660 left for 7 days, so less than £100 a day. And like I say, I didn't want to be like, I'm going to have like one meal a day, I'm going to like really scrimp and save. I was like, nope, I want to have all the meals that I would normally have. I want to do like a character dining. I want to get multi-pass lightning net. I want to get these things and have the sort of trip, but let's see how we can stretch the budget. And then we got to the middle of the trip and I went to the outlet. And this is where things got tricky. So I can't wait to show you how it all pans out and if I make it to the end of the trip with any money, because once we went to the outlet, it was a problem. It was amazing. Then I went to go and see Hamlet in Chichester Festival Theatre. So I live in Portsmouth, so not too far from Chichester, and they are an amazing theatre. So what they do is every year they test out shows before they go to the West End, and the tickets start from £10. So I always get the £10 tickets. Every seat kind of has an amazing view. And I went to see Top Hat earlier this year. I've seen Hamlet. I'm going to see Lord of the Flies next week. So it's just absolutely amazing. All for £10, which is unreal. When you think like going to the cinema these days is easily £10 or more, to go and see live theatre for £10 was incredible. It was so good. And it's stuff like I got to see last year Oliver, that is now in the West End with the exact same cast, £10. Unreal. It's so good. Louise says, what I'd love to know, Sophie, and I'm not sure if this would be possible, but would it be great if you could tell us how much of your £3,000 budget would change if you were a family of 4? This is such an interesting question, because there's some areas where it would obviously be more expensive. So dining, for example, because with quick service meals, I was spending between like £10 and £12 a meal, which I think is unbelievable value for a theme park and for one of the biggest tourist attractions in the world. I did not think that was bad at all. But of course, if you're a family, suddenly that's becoming like £40-50 per meal. So that adds up a lot. But then you save a lot of money with the room, for example. So the cost of the room is the same no matter how many people are in it. So the more people you have in it, the better value it works out. Whereas as a solo traveller, you just pay the cost for yourself and it's very expensive. So that it swings and roundabouts. But I would say, like, it would definitely be way less than £3,000 per person, because of the stuff like the room costs and like stuff like flight meals per person would kind of be the same as me. So I would say actually per person it would probably be less. But then obviously I suppose it depends what you're doing, but I do think it wouldn't be as much, because I know stuff like, so say I shared the room with someone else, immediately my room cost would have halved, so that would have made a big difference. So yeah, you could definitely do it for far less than £3,000 per person if you're a family of 4, which is great news. So yeah, and I don't even think, like, this wasn't even like a budget trip in the sense of like, let's do the bare bones as cheap as possible. So there are definitely ways you could cut the costs down as well, which is amazing, which is very exciting. Love this. The first time I went to Disneyland Paris as an adult, I ran between the 2 parks back and forth and my feet killed. The second time I went, I planned it more, walked less, walked slower, and it's amazing. That's the thing. I always say this. Disneyland Paris is a smaller park, but because of that, you walk more. Because like in Disney World, if you're like going on Tron and then you're like, oh, I think I'll just go on Pirates of the Caribbean next, you've got to trek so far that you don't do that. You just naturally will go in that kind of circle. Whereas Disneyland Paris, you can zigzag and go to the different parks. And then because of it, you don't realise how far you're walking. So I totally agree with you. Like, it's so easy to do. So sometimes you have to kind of just rein it in. And something I did this trip at Disneyland Paris was, if I've been on a ride once, then I'm happy, because I wasn't expecting to kind of do many rides at all. Whereas normally I go, how many times can I get on everything during a trip? And actually, it was amazing, because I kind of thought I'd feel like I was missing out by not going on Pirates of the Caribbean like 12 times. And actually it was really amazing, and some rides I did get to go on more than once, but it was that great thing of kind of knowing, oh, I've been on this and I'm super happy. And then it made me realise how much you can fit in. If you visit like a normal person and you go, I'm going to do one thing each ride once, you can fit so much into a trip. And I was like so impressed. And even I found this with Disney World because I had the exact same strategy. I was like, because I'm there for a week, I think the natural inclination would be either I'm going to have to miss out on things, or I'm going to have to try and squeeze 14 days worth of things into 7. And I was kind of worried about that. So I went in with the idea of I will do all of the things I want to do once, and if I get to do more than that, then it's fantastic. And I did so much during the trip. I did not feel like I missed out on absolutely anything. And this is actually a great question from Liz. She said, how do you feel now about a 7-day trip to Orlando? I think it's amazing. I always thought, oh my God, it would be so rushed, like you just would not have enough time to do everything. But I would say if you're focusing just on Disney World and you're not trying to do like lots of other theme parks and days out, you can have the best time in a week. It really changed my opinion, and I would definitely do a week again, because like I said, I fitted in so much more. I do think going in September made such a big difference because it is a quieter time of year. And there were days that I utilised stuff like multipass and individual lightning lanes, which obviously helps you fit more in. But again, that was really strategic because I was like, I'm going to do it in the parks where I think I need it the most. And then that way I'm going to go and spend like £24 on a multipass, but I'm going to get so much out of that day that's going to really enhance the enjoyment of the trip. So again, it was amazing to think that I didn't have to miss out on any of these things, where naturally I think you could think, oh my God, if I've got a more conservative budget and I'm trying to be mindful of money, you could easily go, right, I'm not going to do lightning lanes, I'm not going to do any of these things, just stick to like bare bones stuff. And I really want to prove that you don't have to do that. You can kind of manipulate your money to get the most out of your trip. So I hope you get to see that throughout the vlog series. And it was amazing because it was that great balance between spending the money and not going crazy, but also getting the most out of your trip. Because I do see sometimes people will save and save and save to go, and then they'll try and do a bare bones budget, and then they miss out on so many things. Whereas I'm like, if you can even save a little bit longer, the difference it will make in your trip and your experience will be huge. And if you're going all that way, you want to have the best time. So this was the whole point, like, let's get the balance between the two. And it was just so much fun to do and to see if it was possible, which was really great. Oh, Jordan, this is a great question. Opinions on a Walt Disney World annual pass from the UK. Planning on going in March and then maybe again in September or December and then again in March. Looking for the 14-day ticket in March and it's £677 when I paid under £500 this September. So thinking of a pass would be worth it. And I think that's such a good question because the tickets again have gone up a lot next year, which is such a shame. And if you're planning on doing 3 trips in the space of 12 months, I think an annual pass would be great because, one, your tickets are all covered. It would mean you wouldn't be able to get deals such as the dining offer, for example, where you get the hotel and the ticket package together and you get the dining plan. However, what you can do is keep an eye out for US offers, because if you use a VPN, you can do offers that they offer the US citizens. So it could be stuff, or not US citizen, but if you book on the US website. So it could be stuff like free nights, 25% off rooms, stuff like that. So that can help you kind of get lower room rates. And that would probably still work out cheaper than doing the tickets. Because like you say, if you're going to have to get 3 lots of £670 tickets, that's going to add up significantly. And then, of course, you get all of the discounts while you're out there. So that will save money as well. So I think that could be a really great idea. And how much fun will that be? It'll be so good. Hi, Rob. Lovely to see you. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us. And yes, Jamie, £10 tickets for theatre is unbelievable. I'm so lucky to live near there. And it's so fantastic. Although I have to say, oh my God, this is such a weird thing to point out, but Chichester is typically an older town. And so the audience in the shows are typically an older audience. But it's famous for, this is terrible, so bear with me. It's famous for people passing away during the show. But then because people don't want to interrupt the show, they don't say anything. So this has happened a few times. And I was mentioning this to someone last year. And I was like, it's crazy this happens. And then I went to a show that night. And there was a medical emergency during the show. And I was like, oh my God, I've summoned this. And then I told the same person, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. It's happened to me. It's happened. We then a few months later went to see another show and it happened again. And I was like, I can't. So now I'm kind of on the edge of my seat, always like hyper vigilant, like please everyone be okay. It's a very stressful environment. Hi Philippa, how are you doing? Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us. We kind of tag teamed each other going to Disney. It was absolutely amazing. We were kind of missed each other by a few days in Orlando, but it was so fun to follow along on your trip. Oh, this is great. Georgia says, I feel I will never fall for the only ride things once propaganda. I rode Stardust races 12 times in a day on my last visit to Epic. And that's the thing. I am the same. I tend to ride things over and over again. And like during the visit, I will go on the same rides. It's almost like each day that I'm in Magic Kingdom, I will try and do the exact same rides so that I know that I'm having like an amazing time. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, if I only do everything once, will I feel like I missed out? And I really didn't, which I was so surprised about. And it was great because, like I say, if you kind of go in with the mentality of I'm going to do just one ride on each ride, you fit so much in. And then you're like, oh my gosh, like I do have time to do things multiple times, which was fantastic. And there were other things that I managed to utilise. So on my very first day, which you'll get to see on Wednesday, I went to Magic Kingdom for the evening. And whilst I was there, Tron was 85 minutes the whole evening. And I was like, oh, it's going to be a shame because I really would love to ride Tron. And then it got towards, it was like 11:45 when it was going to shut. And I was on People Mover. And I went on it twice because there was no one on it. So they were like, you can keep going around. And I kept looking at the queue. And I was like, that is not an outdoor queue. And once it hits outdoors, it's normally 45 minutes. And obviously, the longer it gets, the longer the queue is. So I was like, that's not even a 45-minute queue. So I was like, I'm going to risk it. So I went over and got in the queue at like 5 minutes to 11. And it was a 25-minute queue, not 85-minute queue. And we always talk about this as a hack, but it really does work. I've had it before with Rise of the Resistance. It was supposed to be like an hour-long queue. We waited maybe 15 minutes. So they do hyperinflate the wait times at the end of the evening. So there's all these little ways that you can kind of do rides more than once or like get the most out of the day, and it was a hoot. I also got to go on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train with a 20-minute queue just after the fireworks. Like it was absolutely amazing. That first day I can't wait for you to see because it was so good. Oh, let's have a little look. Yes, this is so true, Jamie. I could never only do Tower of Terror once. And I think that's the thing. With the rides that you love, it's worth having in mind, like, oh, I'm definitely going to go on that, like, every day I'm in that park or, like, multiple days. And it's great because you can utilise stuff like the, like, closing when they're overinflating the times or very, very early in the morning. I actually had only one day in Hollywood Studios. And I got there for the early entry. And I always think, like, what can you really do in half an hour? I always kind of poo-pooed that as a benefit because it's not much. However, in that half an hour, I went on Tower of Terror and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And I was like, okay, it seems like you can knock out some of the big rides very quickly in that half an hour. So again, it kind of made you appreciate these things a bit more when you're kind of like on a tighter schedule, which was so good. I love this, Jamie. I know you're not a Disney clairvoyant, but do you reckon the free dining plan will be active in 2027, or do you expect a different offer? I've got a feeling, now they've brought the free dining back, they're sticking with the free dining, which it's really funny to me, because when they changed it to the dining credits, so many people were like, oh, I want the dining plan, I want the dining plan. And then people were like, no, the dining credits is way better. And then they went, oh, you want the dining plan? We'll give you the dining plan. And now I'm like, I think we're stuck with the dining plan. I'd like it if they did add some extra benefits back to kind of entice people. I know this year has been a slower year for Disney World, and I do think the next couple of years are going to be interesting because, yes, you do have some new things opening, like 2027, you can have Monsters, Inc. opening, but also because there's a lot of things that are still being built. I feel like a lot of people are holding off till everything's finished. So I do wonder if they will start trying to entice people back, and you know, it's always that balancing act, isn't it? That they want to entice people to visit, but like the parks are the one area that they kind of keep making money. And when they're having trouble with like the film side of Disney Plus kind of losing money, they do need to entice more people to come, so the parks do keep making money. So I'd like it if they did add some extra things. I think some even stuff like the Magical Express, if that came back, that would be huge. Like people would love that. I don't have to worry about getting to and from the airport. I think that would be so good. But I would love it if the dining credits came back. But I think those days might be over So I do think it's probably going to be the dining plan, and kind of what we're seeing at the moment, where the value resorts just get 1 meal, but then moderate resorts get the full quick service dining plan, and deluxe get the full dining plan. So I do think that's going to continue. So I'm like, it's not my favourite offer. But something that's interesting this year, I obviously booked a few months before going. So I missed out on the dining offer, but instead there was an offer where you got a free night. Because I was there for a week, you got a free night. If I was there longer, you would have got more free nights. And 20% off of the tickets, and it was still the 14-day for the price of 7. So actually it worked out to be a really good deal. So it's interesting again, because I always tend to book Disney World really early and do the free dining offer. But this made me realise that actually, as a solo traveller, it's probably better to wait until there's another offer, and then you can get really, really good deals. Something I'd like to do in the future is do like a really last minute trip and see like what is the cheapest you can go if you book like a super last minute trip. And I think that would be really interesting as well, because again, I normally plan for like 15 months, 18 months, 2 years. So to go, okay, let's go in a couple of weeks' time, I think it would be really fun to see what it's like. Yes, Gemma, you're so right. September wait times are amazing, but you dislike the weather, and it's a catch-22. And this is the thing that was amazing about this trip. Like, in the lead up to it, I had some friends that were already out in Orlando, and they were saying there had been quite a lot of rain. So I was kind of preparing for it, because like you say, it can be either unbelievably hot or a lot of rain, hurricanes, all of those things. However, when I was there, when we landed, it was raining, and I was like, oh gosh, it's happening. It's happening. Because normally the evenings do not rain. It's normally kind of like 4 o'clock, something like that. So evening, I was like, uh-oh. Then we had rain once for like 20 minutes when I arrived at Magic Kingdom on the first day. So I just sat in the car and then got there. And then once when I was eating at my hotel one evening and it rained for 20 minutes. The rest of the time, no rain at all. Absolutely glorious. And the first couple of days I was there as well, it was warm, but it was not unbelievably humid. And I was just like, oh my God, this is like the perfect weather. It was so, so good. So I just lucked out massively. I do find earlier in September is better. Later in September and into October can sometimes be where it gets a bit more rainy and a bit more hurricane potential. But to be fair, there's a hurricane potential for 6 months of the year. It's never a given, but that seems to be more likely when it happens. So yeah, this was like a sweet spot going like mid-September. So it worked out perfectly. So I think it was just luck. But yes, it was absolutely amazing. But I love that you recommend March and November are great times of the year to visit. And yes, I'd love to visit in November because I really want to do the Halloween stuff. Sorry, not Halloween, Christmas. Because I've never done Christmas at Disney World. So I'd love to experience that and do like the Christmas parties and also like different weather. I've been before like May time. I'm trying to think what other times of year I've been. But there are definitely months where I haven't been. I've never been November. So I'd absolutely love to experience that. Jose said, I have to do Guardians at least 6 times a trip so I could hopefully get every song. That would be the dream, wouldn't it? That would be so, so, so good. And I know some friends who were in Disney World and every single day they went to Epcot at some point, either first thing or in the evening, just so they could go on Guardians, which I absolutely love, that dedication. Absolutely amazing. Gemma points out you need to add memory maker and water parks to annual pass, which are extra charges. And I do think that is a good thing to point out, that there are some things that aren't included. So it's good to consider whether you need them or not, which would be really, really cool. But Lindsay has said, do you know when Disneyland Paris will start releasing tickets for May 2026? Hopefully it will be in the next couple of months, because now that they've got the hotel and ticket packages on sale, it should be, like, I've got a feeling towards the end of October is when they revise, I know for the annual pass at least, they revise the pricing. I think it's the same for the normal tickets. So I'm hoping it will be in the next couple of months and then they will suddenly go on sale, because it's nice, isn't it? Once you've got a trip booked, you want to get the tickets booked and you're like, can we hurry up, please? That is something that is interesting about Disneyland Paris. They do tend to leave some things later than other Disney parks. And I'm always like, that stresses me out. Even stuff like this trip, anything to do with Halloween, parade times, anything, they didn't even have the parade times in the app on the day that Halloween started. It wasn't till like lunchtime that they suddenly appeared in the app. And I was like, guys, I'd like to make a plan when I can see the parade. And it was stressing me out. So I don't know if Disneyland Paris were a bit more like time efficient. So people like me would not be so stressed out. I want to be able to plan very far in advance. That's what I'm doing. Rob said, I want to book Cinderella's Royal Table on the 14th day of my trip to Disney World. What will be the best way of securing this reservation? So the great thing is, if you're doing it that far into your trip, you're going to have the best chance of getting the reservations you want, the time you want, because hardly no one else is going to have access to the reservation. So what will happen is at your 60-day mark, you can book the first 10 days of your trip. And then the following day, you could book your 11th day, the day after that, the 13th, the 12th day, etc., etc. So booking it that far into your trip is the perfect strategy because you're going to have access to all of these reservations that no one else is going to have. So just be aware of when that 60-day mark will open up for you, because it will be a few days after your full 60-day mark. But yes, that's very exciting. Yes, Philippa, it's so sad we just missed each other, but I hope we do cross each other again, because it'd be amazing to be in the parks at the same time. And it's always such a joy to bump into people and get to finally meet face to face, so that would be amazing. Hi, Anne-Marie, how are you doing? How are you? Hi, oh, this is amazing. Everyone's turning up. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, I love that you were in Disneyland for the first time when I was in Disney World. What did you think? Did you have an amazing trip? What was your favourite thing? Yes, I love this. Lindsay's the same. I want to be able to get planning. And it is a big part of the magic. I totally agree. I think it's a big part of the excitement of building up to your trip, of thinking like what you're going to do, where you're going to eat, what you're going to wear. And when you don't know things, it's very stressful. Like, there's a really good question, actually, that someone said, is there a way of finding times for parades in Disneyland Paris? And this was from Phoebe. And I was like, this is a very good point, because that's what I was looking for. And on the app itself, if you scroll down, there'll be, it will say like today's opening hours. And below it, you can click a link and it will take you to the calendar. And you can scroll through to your dates. They only tend to do a couple of months at a time. And you can then see the opening hours, but it will have like parade times, show times, and stuff like that. And also in the parks themselves, they will have these electronic notice boards. So there's one on Main Street on the right-hand side before the castle. There's one in front of the Tower of Terror. And on there, they'll also have the parade and show times for the day, as well as like current waiting times for rides, restaurant opening hours, things like that. But yeah, that can be frustrating. You're like, I'd like to be able to find this information easier, please. And don't leave it till the day it opens, because I would like it. Like with Halloween season, I was so excited. We knew it was coming, so I couldn't believe that they had no times for things. So it's very stressful. Anne-Marie, you said it was amazing. The rides are so close together, low crowds, so many walk-around characters. Peter Pan was sitting on the floor reading to a group of kids. Much more charming than Disney World. And I totally agree. I actually think Disneyland Park in California is my favourite Disney park I've ever been to, for all of those reasons. Like, the roaming characters make the park feel so alive. It is jam-packed full of rides. Like you said, there's just no space. There's ride, 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 ride. And I just think it's super, super beautiful. The only thing I think that's disappointing is the smallness of the castle. If you're not prepared for how small it's going to be. I remember the very first time I ever went to Disneyland, I was like, where is it? It was so, it's like a 2-story house. It's so small. But I think if you know and you're prepared for that, it's still very charming. But yeah, I think the park itself is absolutely incredible. And like you say, like, the roaming characters are just something you don't get other places. And it's so amazing because it's not just that they're roaming. It's the fact, like you said, they're interacting. They're reading to kids. Mary Poppins was on the carousel with her band when I was there. Or I saw Cruella de Vil walking down Main Street and she bumped into Mickey and Pluto. And she was trying to kidnap Pluto because he's a dog. And like, there's all these amazing moments, and I'm like, it's so wonderful. So I'm so glad you had the best time, because it's so awesome. It's so good. Yes, you're so right, Anne-Marie. If you sneeze when you walk under the castle, you'll miss it, which is so true, because it is tiny, tiny. But yeah, it's so funny, isn't it? That I love that they went like the other extreme for Disney World. They were like, okay, we've got to do better than this, because this is very small. It's so funny. There are also, oh, actually, if Penelope's still here, sorry, if Philippa, are you still here? But you had a great question, which was, did you have any budget left after your Disney World trip? And I'm going to be one of those awful people and go, you'll have to watch to see. But it was one of those things that, like I say, the first couple of days, I was so confident. Then we hit the outlet. And then it I was like, oh, this could be a problem. But it was really interesting to then go, okay, how can we kind of make sure that we do have money left? Because the worst thing that would happen, I mean, obviously I would have like used my credit card and I could have paid out of my own money to eat and stuff like that. It was not going to be a case of like I would starve to death. I would like like the final 3 days there's no food. But I did suddenly start panicking, like, oh no, I've been conservative till this point, and then you see too many good bargains, and because they are really good deals, you go, that's not expensive, and then you're like, oh, with the budget. So I can't wait to show you how that went, because there were a few times where I suddenly bought something and then I was like, oh no. So it's gonna be so good. But the outlet was great, wasn't it? I'm so glad you got loads of good things as well. And it's so good because you will sometimes see things that are still on sale in the park for full price, and you're like, well, I have to get it. It's so good. Stevie has a great question. Is DAS a scary process to apply for? Oh, I need to apply for my trip, but keep reading horror stories. And I think this is the really difficult thing, is I think the changes that they have made it, like you say, feel much more intimidating, much more scary, and made people much more worried about what their trips are going to be like. So I do hope in the future they do change the accommodations, because at the moment I feel like it's so restrictive that it cuts out so many people that could need DAS. And I think that's really unhelpful, and it adds all of this extra stress onto people when they're applying for DAS or on their trips. But I know a few people who have applied for DAS and they've actually found it to be super fine. The cast members have been really friendly and they've managed to sort it all out, and it didn't take long at all. So yes, the main thing you need to prepare for is they'll just ask you, why can't you stand in queues? So I think if you can go in knowing that that's the question they're going to ask, it makes you a bit more comfortable, because you don't feel like you're being put on the spot of, how do I answer? So if you know in advance that's what they're going to ask, and you can just let them know, and then they will be able to assist you. So yeah, I hope everything goes super well, but I really hope that they do kind of make it more accommodating again, because it's one extreme or the other. I know Universal are much better now, because their system, because Disney said that they can't ask for people what their specific condition is, they can't ask for medical like doctor's letters or anything like that, whereas I think Universal, you can provide proof, and it makes it a lot simpler for that. Although they have recently just changed some of the rules regarding some of the big rides, and they've made it more difficult for people who are wheelchair users to go on them. So it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? It's very difficult, but I hope that they kind of do look into making things more fair and more accessible for people. But yes, I would say don't panic. And just go and have a conversation with them. You can do it online, you just need to use a VPN. And you could do it up to 60 days in advance of your visit, or you can do it when you arrive, and you could do a call at one of the guest services, whichever you prefer. Yes, you're so right. Disneyland Paris was a breeze with this sort of thing, but Disney World feels intimidating. And I think that's the thing, because I know in America they do have laws about you can't ask people for their medical conditions and, medical notes, etc., etc. But I think it makes it more difficult then. Whereas if you could just go, this is why I need DAS and this is the evidence, it would be so much simpler, like Disneyland Paris. So I think, yeah, they've made it kind of much more intimidating. And I'm like, I don't know why. It seems to be the opposite of what you're meant to be doing. So hopefully they will kind of work through that eventually. But yeah, it's not great. It's not great. And I think it's kind of silly. Like, because if people are happy to give kind of a doctor's note or something, I don't see why Disney are like, no, we could never see that. It seems very strange, particularly because Universal can do it, so it can't really be a law thing. It's just nuts. Yes, Alison, you've heard that Disneyland Paris are planning to tighten up DAS, and that's the thing. I think it could be the case, because as we know, there are always people that kind of take advantage of these things. But I think with Disneyland Paris, we have to provide evidence. It does cut down on that. Which is why I think, although if I'm honest, my conspiracy theories, I think the reason Disney World have become so strict on DAS is because the DAS queue and the multi-pass Lightning Lane queue are the same queue. So they got to a point where, like, the multi-pass Lightning Lane queue was so long because it had so many people in it that it was kind of like, this doesn't work, because the people that need to have short queue times because of DAS aren't getting short queue times. The people who have paid for short queue times aren't getting short queue times, but only one of those people is paying. for a short queue time. So I think that's probably why they've really tightened up DAS, because now they can tell people if you need a short queue time, then you can just pay for it, which I don't think you'd even be allowed to get away with in the UK, to say to people your disability accommodation is you can pay for a short queue, but that's seemingly the route they're going down. Lindsay says, are you going to go back to Disneyland Paris for the World of Frozen opening? I'm taking my 3 nieces in May, and that's going to be so, so lovely. So at the moment, I've kind of been thinking about what I might do next year. And I'm considering going back to getting an annual pass for Disneyland Paris because, like I say, staying on site next year has become significantly more expensive. Particularly like solo trips, I think it's kind of going to be out of the realm of possibility. So if I get an annual pass, that means I could stay off site and it'd be much more affordable. So I am eyeing up different times of the year to visit. So it would be amazing to be there kind of after World of Frozen has opened. I think May should be a great month because in theory, that's the very end of spring. So I'm hoping by May, everything should be running, it should be open. You know, it's kind of going to be any time between March and the end of May, right? So hopefully a May visit will be perfect. And I always love May in general as well. So that's going to be very exciting. But yeah, I'm very excited to see what World of Frozen is going to be like. It was great to see it this time because every time you go, you see a little more progress. And I think it's going to be really, really cute. I went on Cars Road Trip and because that's right at the back of the park, you are literally next door to where the new character dining restaurant's going to be. So I got a really good look at that. It's a really big building. The outside looks really, really good, but it's literally like feet away from Cars Road Trip, which is so exciting because you kind of now are getting a sense of the layout, which is really, really fun. So yeah, I just can't wait. It's going to be so good. As I said, did you ride Dinosaur for the final time when in Disney World? And if not, why not? And yes, I did! On my Animal Kingdom day, it was the first ride I did. And it was just so good to go on it. And I always think of our time on it, which was so much fun. I'm so glad we got to ride that together. And yeah, it's just so sad to think, isn't it? It's the final time of getting to ride it. However, the Indiana Jones ride in Disneyland is amazing. So I do think it's so sad to lose something that is like so iconic and also original. But the Indiana Jones ride is fun, so I'm like, okay, if we're going to change it, at least we're going to have the ride the same, but it's just different theming. But this is something I was thinking about when I was in Epcot, is that so many of the rides I love in Epcot are the originals, so like Figment and Spaceship Earth and things like that. Whereas obviously now Disney are moving much more towards IP, like almost every single new ride now is always IP. And do you miss the fact that they don't do original rides anymore? Because I think they become such icons of the park. And I'm like, it's kind of sad that we don't have these anymore. And stuff like, obviously, like Pirates of the Caribbean became a franchise. Jungle Cruise had its own film. Haunted Mansions had its own film. Like, so they do spring their own kind of media from it. It doesn't have to be you have media first. And I'm like, what films are we going to start making rides of? Because you know, in the last, say, 10, 15 years, apart from, like, Frozen, Coco and Encanto, there's not been a lot of, like, huge, heavy-hitting films. So I'm like, what are we going to start making rides based on? Because there aren't any films that we can think about. So I'm like, can we go back to originals? Can we let the Imagineers just do their amazing work? Which would be so good. So Rob has a great question. Do you think the Encanto and Indiana Jones ride will be open by my trip in May 2027? So we know for sure that this land is going to be opening in 2027. And the fact is, like, they've already closed half of it, and there's all construction walls up. To get to Dinosaurs, like a bit of a maze now. So they've already got a lot of things underway. And then we know that Dinosaur is closing this year. Next year, they'll be doing the work on that part of the land. So I do think they will be opening kind of like spring, summer 2027. So I hope that by May they would open. We always think when they're opening things, it will either be like May, June, July is when I always think it'll probably be one of those months. Sometimes they like to open it a bit earlier so that they have got all the kinks out and the ride's been in operation for a while before the big summer crowds hit. So I think that could be a really good sign for May, because obviously if they're opening it then, they've got enough time for everyone to kind of experience it before that summer rush. So that would be absolutely perfect if that happened, because yeah, the fact that it's kind of very underway already, I think that's really, really good sign. And as we all know, like Disney World is building much quicker than Disneyland Paris. Like the fact that World of Frozen, it's been like 7 years, and it's one ride and one shop, and you're like, okay. Admittedly, Adventure Way as well. That so there is more than just Frozen, but it's taking a while. But it'll be good. It'll be good once it's open. It'll be amazing. I'm very excited for that nighttime show and that big lake. It's kind of going to be a bit like World of Colour, but also with drones. I think that's going to be so exciting. So that's going to be so, so good. But the thing after that will be Lion King. How long is that going to take to build? Hopefully it won't be another 7 years. But although I have to say, this trip, I went on Tiana's Bar Adventure. So I always sit in the back row. And I was having a great time. And then one time I thought, I'll let fate decide where I sit. I always just sit in the back row. And when I've seen people get off, like they have splotches of wet, but no one looks terrible. I ended up being in the front row. I was basically waterboarded. I'm not even kidding. There was one point where there was so much water in my face, I had to hold my breath. And I came off, my hair was stuck to my face, my clothes were soaked to my skin. And I was like, I've been massively lied to by the people with the splotches. But it also made me think, how in the heck are they doing this in Disneyland Paris? Because when it's -5 in winter, even without getting wet, when you're going down the drop and you've got the wind in your face and it's like -10 with the chill, I don't know how they're going to do it. And this is why I've never had a water ride outdoors or a big drop in Disneyland Paris. So very interesting to see what they do with Lion King. I'm wondering maybe in winter they'll turn the water effects off so you don't get like massively splashed. Because yeah, that won't be fun. That won't be fun. Even in Florida, the day that I got drowned by Tiana, it took me hours to dry, and that was in Florida. So I'm like, I'm not even risking it in Disneyland Paris. It's the worst. And Rob also says, do they do special things for May 4th around Galaxy's Edge? If so, are they worth going to or avoiding due to large crowds? So they will tend to do things, and they're more like an unofficial gathering. So what will happen is a lot of people would come with their lightsabers, a lot of local people that love Star Wars, and they do tend to have this amazing moment where Rey will come out and she will kind of like be like amping everyone up that we're like the resistance and fighting against the bad guys, and then she does a countdown and everyone turns their lightsabers on at the same moment, and it is an absolutely incredible scene. It's so good. However, that itself will be very, very busy. There's definitely more people in Galaxy's Edge on that day. However, it could be, if you're planning to like visit, you might want to get like an Ogre's Cantina reservation, because they will always be capped. You might want to eat there, and it might be like, if I don't get on any rides, it's fine, but if I'm there to soak up the atmosphere, because the atmosphere will be absolutely electric, that will be so worthwhile. It's something I've always wanted to do. I'd actually love to go to Disneyland, because around that time of year as well, they also have the Star Wars nights, which look absolutely incredible. But to be there on May the 4th in Galaxy's Edge, I think would be amazing. It would be so good. Stevie D says 7 years is more like the world of defrosted. That's the thing, isn't it? It's taking its good old time. It'll be interesting once it does open. But I'm like, but then it took 18 months to build an awning on Casey's Corner, which this time I did get to see. It was finally completed. It was the first time in years that I've seen that without construction walls. So it was very nice to see. There was lots of seating, way more seating than before. It was nice that it was covered over. The seats now have baseballs in them, hidden, which is great. Not really hidden, but they, you know, if you keep your eye out, there's way more baseball references now. So that's really, really fun. But that took 18 months. So I can see why World of Frozen is taking so long. And Stevie says, is early May an optimal time to visit? And is this Disneyland Paris? Because I love a May visit, and I often visit in kind of like mid-May or early May. I would say sometimes there's like May Day, which is a public holiday. So try and avoid that. And any school holidays, because sometimes Easter can be quite late. So if it's kind of like an April Easter, do be aware of any school holidays, because in France they will do it in zones. So say we had like a 2-week school holiday in the UK, it can be more like a 6-7 week period in France because of the different zones. So I always try and avoid that. But mid-May, I do think is a really good time to visit because it's quieter, like less queue times, which is fantastic. The weather's nice. It's cheaper than other months. So I think May is a really good time to visit Disneyland Paris. Like, I absolutely love it. Anne-Marie, oh my God, Disneyland's Tiana looks even worse. Look, I don't even know if I would go on it, if I'm honest. Because I've seen footage and people, like, literally the boat is filled with water. And I'm like, have they not realised that this is not enjoyable? Like, when you get off and, like, your feet, your shoes, all of your clothing, everything is soaked and you're going to be like that for hours, it's not enjoyable. And then I now kind of have, like, personal beef with Tiana because I'm like, don't start. So then the next time I went on it, I was like, back row. I can't be doing any other row. It has to be the back row now. But I feel like Disneyland doesn't matter what row you're in. Like, that is so intense. It's a lot. Hi, Laurie. It's lovely to see you. It's so exciting that you are here. How was your trip? Because I know you have been out to Orlando as well, which is so exciting. Oh, this is exciting. You've said the log flumes have ride settings for the drop splash, which makes sense. And Jose's also said most water rides can be changed for weather, so you won't get as wet, which I think is the only option in Disneyland Paris. They're going to have to turn the water effects off with the splashing in the winter. Even in the summer, they're going to have to, like, turn it down, because Disneyland Paris is one of those things. It's the same as the UK. Like, the summer, it can either be roasting hot heat wave or it could be pouring with rain. There's kind of no middle ground. So when it's roasting hot, it'll be amazing to go on a water ride, but when it's one of those, like, cooler days, again, you're going to be like, just a light splash would be amazing. It was good. Lindsay says, what do you think about Disney opening a park in Abu Dhabi? Will you go? The Warner Brothers park there is high quality. And yeah, it's been so controversial when it's been announced. And it's one of those difficult things where I kind of think the thing that I find difficult about it is how Disney, on the one hand, will champion gay rights and have pride events and pride merch. Admittedly, those things they're making money off of, but then open a park in Abu Dhabi where it's illegal to be gay, and I'm kind of like, you can't have the opposing messages and be like, that's fine. Like, it's a confusing message. So as a business, I think it's a very peculiar thing when you're making, especially, like, in Florida, they went to they went to war with Ron DeSantis over don't say gay and things like that, to then a short while later go, oh, we're going to open Abu Dhabi and you can't be gay. And, there's other issues with, like, human rights and stuff. So it's difficult. I think, as you say, there's other theme parks out there. People have had great experiences in them. I know they're much quieter than theme parks in the US or Europe. So people have had, like, great experiences. They really throw a lot of money at them and make them these, like, amazing experiences. But I think a lot of people will feel conflicted about going because it's like, I don't know if I want to kind of put money into a country where they maybe have some beliefs that I don't support. And I think that's really difficult. So I don't think personally I would be going. It's not something I'm kind of, when it came out, I was a bit shocked that Disney kind of made this decision. And I understand that they are basically not doing anything. They've just kind of sold the rights. They won't be operating it. They won't be building it. So they're not financially losing out. They're just getting money to kind of, like, license everything out there. But I do think it is really difficult because it's that conflicting message of being like, we're super welcoming and we support everyone and we support these communities, and then going, no, not here. Don't go to you can go to our other parks, but don't go to this one. And it doesn't feel very on brand for Disney. But it's an interesting thing. I'd love to hear what other people think, because I know when it came out, there was a huge, like, it was big in the Disney community of, like, what people were thinking, and people had very, very strong views. And I think that's the thing. I think everyone's going to have different opinions of things, but I think it's not somewhere that I'm very keen to go to. I don't think it's one of those things that I don't even think I would cover like on the channel. I don't think I'll really do updates about the construction stuff that's going on, because I just kind of think, where so many people won't be able to visit it and it feels quite exclusive, I don't even know if I'll do it. So it's a difficult one. Oh, Rob has said, can you make some videos about the future of Universal? Would be great to hear your thoughts about dining locations rise, as well as useful tips for that as well. And yes, I think that will be so interesting, because Universal is so much fun to visit as well. And this is the thing, the next time I go to Florida, I really want to get out to Universal. And Laurie will be able to tell us about this, because he's just had an amazing time at Universal. But I'm desperate to go to Epic Universe. I'm like, I need to fit this in. And I think that's the thing that was interesting as well. A lot of people, I think, if you're now doing a 2-week trip to Orlando, will have to think about, oh, how do I balance this? Because you definitely need more days at Universal now. But it was really great to see that if you do a week at Disney, you could absolutely do a week. I still think a week at Universal would be too long, because I think you could probably do like 4 days and like 2 days at Epic, 1 day in each of the other parks. Then maybe you'd have a few days where you could do Volcano Bay, outlets, things like that. So you could have a bit more of a relaxing trip, would be amazing. And I'm very excited as well for Universal coming here. That's something I can't wait for. This is the thing, in my mind, I'm already like, well, obviously you're going to do a meet-up at Universal Great Britain. And I'm like, that will not probably be for 5 years. So it's probably too early to start telling people, like, when are we going to do, are we doing a meet-up, guys? Are we all coming? Are we going? And I'm like, are you free in 5 years' time? So I'll probably wait, but that is going to be absolutely incredible. And of course, Halloween Horror Nights is coming to the UK as well. Today, I've just put up the video all about Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando this year, which was absolutely amazing. And I did even more this year than last year, which I didn't even think was possible. But in one night, I did all 10 houses, all 4 scare zones. I did the show. I did a meal at Mel's Dine, which was so fun because they had the zombies outside, which was so good. I shopped for much. I did absolutely everything in one night. It was absolutely incredible. And of course, I was so excited for Terrifier. So I hope if you do like anything to do with spooky season, you get to watch that, because it was so much fun. And of course, we've got some reactions in there as well from inside the houses. So you can hear the screams. But I have to say, I think 2 things. I think I've got braver. I do think the houses weren't as scary this year, but they had amazing theming. And also what happened was, in a lot of the houses, I wasn't the target this year, but it was so funny being behind the people that were the target and seeing their reaction, because I was like, oh my god, this is what people must feel like when they're behind me. And it's so fun because it gives you such a different experience, because one, you could take in the house more because you're not like living on the edge of your nerves. But also it's so funny seeing people's reactions. Especially, there was one house I went in, one of the original houses, is called Galkin, and I actually think it was one of the best houses this year. It was so good. And there was a group of teenagers in front of me, and when we were outside, they were like giving it the big I am. Inside the house, it was a different story, and I laughed my entire way around the house because it was so funny. Because it was great, because I was just like, there are other people like me. There are other people that react just the same way as I do. And it was so funny to see them like jumping, like physically jumping in the air and screaming. And I had a hoot. Also, the Jason house, which was definitely the scariest house this year. And it was very like, the corridors were very narrow, and the actors were jumping out from all these different places in the corridor. So you were like really up against them. The man in front of me ended up being a target a lot, but it was so funny because him and his friends were so friendly, so lovely. They were handing out like friendship bracelets to cast members, and as we were going round the house, the man kept turning around to talk to me, to say like, oh my god, isn't this great? But what would happen is, every time he'd turn around, someone would jump out at him and he would scream. So every time he went to speak, he couldn't speak because he was screaming. And it was just so funny. There was lots of amazing experiences like that, which was so good. So I do hope you get to see that. And I just can't wait for it to come here, because it's going to be so good. Yes, I totally agree that the Universal hotels are amazing. I am 100% with you. I think they are, again, I don't think there's a bad Universal hotel. They're much more affordable than Disney. I'm so glad that you had a great time at Stella Nova. They look beautiful, these new resorts. And it's great that you stayed at Adventura, Hard Rock, and Stella Nova, and you prefer them all to Pop Century. And I think that's the thing, like, the thing I think is difficult about Disney is they're taking some of the Disney theming out of the rooms. So then they kind of feel a bit more like generic rooms. Whereas I'm like, if I'm paying to stay at Disney, I want it to be like Disney have exploded in this room. I want everything Disney. Whereas I think Universal have never gone like, apart from they do have themed rooms that you can pay extra for, like Jurassic Park and Minions and stuff. But the hotels are just there to be nice hotels. But they're really, really great. The transportation is fantastic. A lot of them are also within walking distance. They're so, so, so good. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. And it's interesting to hear lots of people. So Alison said, I'm also very torn on the decision for Disney to open in the Middle East. Georgia says, I agree. I don't think I'll be making the trip to Abu Dhabi or any parks there with new and amazing world record breaking coasters. Min has said the Abu Dhabi park really makes me uncomfortable, and I really hope it just doesn't happen. I'm not going to the US parks, let alone Abu Dhabi. And then Laurie has said Abu Dhabi is perfectly safe for the LGBT plus Q community. Put that around the other way. Q plus. I don't know why I got excited about the plus too early. You've had many trips under your belt and never had a problem. Yes, Island is amazing. And yes, it's good to know that you felt totally comfortable, totally safe, never had any problems, which is really, 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 really helpful, because I think so many people are kind of torn. And I think it's difficult because I'm so, so glad to hear that you've had an amazing experience and you've loved it out there. And it just worries me in case if anyone goes out there and they do encounter a problem, how big of a problem will it then be? And is it a case of there's a 2-tier system where tourists will get one type of treatment, but people that live there get a different type of treatment? And would you then feel comfortable knowing that, like, I might not have any problems, but if people living there are having problems, it's so difficult. And I think that's the thing that's hard. Like, going to Disney should just be a exciting thing. And where people now have to really think about, can I morally support this? How will I feel? I think it's difficult. And I think I don't understand why Disney have kind of done that, because it doesn't fit their brand, if that makes sense. So I think it's really, really good actually, though, to have people's personal first-hand experiences. So thank you so much, Laurie, because that makes such a big difference and helps people have more informed decisions, which is great. Oh, I love it. Laurie also said you got soaked on Tiana and you were at the back. There's no safe spot anymore. What are we gonna do? That's amazing. But you got even more wet at Islands of Adventure. Yes, those rides are no joke, are they? Like, they are so much fun, but it's a level of wetness that you don't even know exists, and you're just like, this is ridiculous. But I love that you loved Epic Universe. It does look so cool. The theming looks amazing. The rides look great. I'm so excited for Darkmoor in general, particularly Monsters Unchained. Like, it just sounds so good. And then Laurie also says that he has stayed at all 3 new hotels at Universal and a night at movies, and the new hotels are absolutely beautiful and a great addition to Universal. And yeah, I think they just look so stunning. And Helios looks so, I know it's called grand, and I'm like, it literally does look grand. And just to have that theme park view, absolutely incredible. And like we said, I think they're much more affordable than the Disney hotels. And I definitely think if you're going to do both, do a split stay, because it's a way to kind of save money, but also you get that great experience of being in the Disney and the Universal bubble. And yeah, I just absolutely love it. It's so, so, so good. Lindsay says, agree about Abu Dhabi and Dubai are very, very safe. Totally understand the group's reservations though and respect that. And yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, it always feels difficult talking about these things because you don't want to offend people. And I think that's why it's really helpful to have people's personal experiences as well. And I think it's so, so nice that people are so accommodating, because we live in a world that is ever increasingly like people will not listen to any other opinion or thought that isn't similar to theirs. So it's so, so nice to hear other people's opinions and first-hand experiences, and from that you kind of learn more, understand more, grow more. So that's all you can ask for. But yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see how it progresses, because it's definitely been a very, very controversial decision. And it's kind of that thing of, I know my kind of first thought was, I do think it depends on the management of Disney. And I think Bob Iger has definitely been a CEO who has been about business or money making decisions over the brand. I recently read his book and I was like, oh, reading his book, I feel like I understand him more now. And I was like, that's why he makes these types of decisions. I think different CEOs would never have done the same decisions. And yeah, I'll just be interested to see how it plays out, because it's definitely been very divisive. So it'll be bonkers. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time, I think. But Georgia said you did HHM for the first time this year and had a great time. You did an RIP tour on your own, as it was a solo trip, and it was a lot of money, but great fun for a first HHM. The RIP tours do look fantastic, and it's just so fun that you get to go and have a guide and learn so much more about the houses and the event itself. And did you see Art the Clown roaming? Because this is the one thing that I was sad about, that Art the Clown was not roaming when I was there, and I was like, ah. But apart from that, it was absolutely incredible. Yeah, I'd love to do an RIP tour in the future, though. It's so awesome. We also have another point. On Abu Dhabi, I believe that it's going to be a huge market for places like India, which have a large Disney fan population that can't get to other parks without visas. And yes, I've seen a lot of people kind of mention this, that there'll be new markets and new people that don't get to go to the other Disney parks get to go there. So again, that is something to consider. And obviously something that Disney have considered. Although I do have to say, I know people that have been to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and their theme parks are great for tourists because they're empty. Then it's not like like here, like theme parks are just so popular. Like people will go for a day out, especially when it gets to summer. Like, oh, we're going to go to a theme park and stuff like that. I think the culture's kind of different. It's not such a thing, and maybe that will grow as new markets kind of get to experience. Maybe Disney will help push that, because it's kind of a different type of theme park. It's more like highly themed rather than just rides. But yeah, it's interesting because I saw a lot of people kind of be like, oh, but they're going to go because like people want to go to theme park. Oh my god, there's a ghost. We've been talking about Halloween Horror Nights and now our ghost has appeared. But at the moment, there isn't kind of a big theme park audience in the Emirates. So maybe Disney will change that. But yeah, I'm kind of like, at the moment, I don't think that's like a reason. I actually had a friend that went out early this year, and he sent a video, and he was literally in the Warner Brothers park, and there was every single video, there was no one else in it. So it was great for him because he just got on all the rides immediately. But I was like, there obviously isn't a big appetite for theme parks. So again, it's just a very interesting discussion. It's so good. Stevie has said, did you have any trepidation about visiting Disney World from the UK given the political climate in the US? I'm nervous, but also really want the Port Orleans beignets. And I think that's the thing. I was worried about stuff like immigration, because I'd heard a lot about how lots of people are being stopped, their phones are being gone through, they're getting really strict. So I was very nervous about that. Like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Are you going to get questioned? Are you going to get secondary questioning? Didn't have any issues at all. And I suppose the difficult thing is when you're at Disney, you're in the Disney bubble. So I have to say, when I was in the US, everything was so it was so much nicer than being in the UK currently. Like the UK, there's an atmosphere. I don't know if anyone else feels it, but it just feels like everything's about to kick off. There's so much division. It's so much misery. It's horrible. And of course, we hear that about the US as well. Being in Disney itself, didn't experience any of that at all. Like everything was joyful. Everyone was so nice. Everyone I talked to was lovely. Like I never heard anything about politics. So there was no experience of that whatsoever. And like I say, like the main thing I was worried about was like getting through the border, and that was absolutely fine. It was completely normal as usual. So if I hadn't have heard the news about the political climate in the US, I would have had no clue whatsoever. Not at all. So, and I do think that is kind of because you're at Disney or Universal and you're kind of in that bubble. But I would say if anyone's kind of nervous about, if I go about that, am I going to feel this, or are people going to say things? Is it going to be kind of an atmosphere? I didn't experience that at all. So yeah, that was really interesting. And then it was really horrible coming back to reality. Because you're like, oh, everything's terrible. Brilliant. That's good. It was genuinely probably the hardest to come back to. Like I didn't have Disney blues, but I just felt miserable about life. So I was like, this is awful. I was like, we've just got to stay in Disney. We cannot leave that bubble. It's not safe outside the bubble. It was no good. Laurie says, out of the two budget hotels, Terra Luna and Stella Nova, Terra Luna was your favourite. Let's have a look. Oh, I've lost the comment. Come back. Here we go. Grand Helios was amazing. Then staying in Disney was so old-fashioned. Yeah, and I think that's the thing. A lot of the Disney resorts have been around for decades at this point. Some of them probably maybe need a facelift. So, like you say, staying in brand new hotels, state of the art, super, super modern, you could probably definitely really, really tell the difference. I hope in Lion King there will be a small heater effect as you leave the outdoors to go to the exit. That would be glorious. That would be so nice. And also it'd really fit with Lion King, right? Because it would be like the heat of being on the savannah in Africa. That would be amazing. So that would be really, really clever. Sinead has said, heading to Disneyland Paris next week, so can't wait to see upcoming videos. We're just so excited. You're going to have the best time. And the Halloween season is fantastic. I actually had a good question from Chris, who said, what are the things at Disney you could do in Paris that you couldn't do in Orlando? And something I loved was the fact that you could see the Halloween parade. Because obviously, Disney World have an amazing Halloween event, but it's paid for. So in the park itself, you will see decorations and loads of merch. It's great. But anything specific like Halloween parades, fireworks, etc., you have to pay to go to Mickey's Not So Scary. Whereas Disneyland Paris is all included. And the Halloween parade was so much fun. I love that Melanie and the Phantom are in it, which I just think is next level, so, so cool. And something else that I did that I'm going to try and get the video out in the next couple of days is I went to the Unlucky Nugget. And I was so interested to see this because they'd announced we're going to have a Haunted Mansion overlay. And then a few days before, they had started releasing photos. But the photos kind of made it look not very good. And honestly, it got to a point where I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to go. Because they were going to have a different menu. I was like, they're going to have a vegan option. And if this is all they're doing, I don't know if it's going to be that good. However, I was there on the first day of Halloween. And I was just like, so overcome with the need to go. So I did go, and amazingly, they added way more stuff than the photos had shown. So the whole restaurant itself is really atmospheric. It's got like green and purple lighting. All of the tables have candles on. And then on the stage, they have the big wedding cake. The wedding cake topper is Phantom Manor, which was amazing. They had like all presents on the stage, and there was all like cobwebs. It was kind of the wedding that never happened, because obviously she's killing them all. But like you also had a piano, and every now and then the shadow of the Phantom would appear and he'd play it on its own, and it was so, so, so good. And they do have a brand new menu, but they did have a new vegan option. I can't wait for you to hear how I described it, because you know sometimes when you try something and you're like, I don't know how to describe it. I went with an insane description at first, and then the more I ate it, the more I realised what it actually tasted like, and realised how insane what I compared it to was. So I can't wait for you to hear that, because it was absolutely nuts. But I actually really liked it, and the vegan dessert, I think it's the best vegan dessert I've ever had at Disneyland Paris. It was so good. So you're going to have the best time at the Halloween season. And I just love around the park where they have like the spooky music playing and the sound effects and all the decorations. Like, it's so good. And I think that's something that is great about Disneyland Paris, is that you have to pay extra. It's all included. But it swings and roundabouts, because in Disney World, what's good is if you want to do the Halloween party, you can. But the nights where it isn't the Halloween party, you have the regular fireworks, the regular nighttime parade. So you don't have to miss out on those things in your trip. Whereas at the moment at Disneyland Paris, well, you don't even miss out at Disneyland Paris, because they have the normal fireworks. They don't change it to Halloween fireworks. And the normal parade, they've just moved to early in the day. So you get to kind of experience everything, which is great. So I think that's one of the great things. But I very much enjoyed that. It was so much fun. And also staying at the Art of Marvel Hotel. So relaxing. So lovely. So fun. What was really nice is when you check in online, you can request things like a quiet room, high floor, etc., etc. But one of the things they ask you is, they had 6 characters, so it was stuff like Iron Man, Black Panther, I think they had Hulk, they had different characters, and they were like, is there any one that you like the most? And I picked Black Panther, and then what happened is the floor I was on was all Black Panther themed. So when you get out of the lift, there's an amazing Black Panther mural. In your room, you had Black Panther artwork. So I think that's really, really cool. So if you have a favourite character, they might put you on the floor that's related to that. And one of the biggest benefits, I think, is you can book to meet the characters in your hotel. So I booked, you don't know who you're going to meet until you get there. I got to meet Loki, which was hysterical. He's always so, so funny. And then they have this amazing whole setup of, it's about 8 different sets. And they also have like these little stands where they would show you like you need to have your phone like this way or this way, and the poses you should do in the photographs. And because I was on my own, a cast member actually came around with me and took all of the photographs in all of the different scenes, so I didn't have to miss out. And it was absolutely incredible. So that was so worthwhile. And that's such a great benefit of staying at the hotel, which was so fun. So I absolutely loved that. And again, that was something unique to Disneyland Paris. A Marvel hotel. I think it's the only Marvel hotel in the world, I want to say. Maybe that's a big claim. But it's just so cool. And I went to the Skyline Bar, which was so funny because I don't drink. This is the thing that's really interesting. I went to the Beacon Barrel in Disney World. Incredible. However, I'd seen online that they had like, it's mostly an alcoholic menu, and then they had a few mocktails. But when I got there, they had no mocktails. They had 2 kids' cocktails. Both of them had dairy in. So I was like, oh. So I was like, I'm just going to have a cocktail. Suddenly I'm now drinking. Of course I got rum because pirates. The Beacon Barrel is incredible. It's like Ogre's Cantina, but next level. Like the level of immersion is so good. But what I would say, which is really interesting, it's definitely more an adult themed bar. Because like I said, all of the drinks, like the menu is 95% booze. There are 3 small plates you can choose from, and these 2 kind of kids cocktails. It's also a normal bar, so you could get soft drinks, or if you just wanted like normal bar drinks like rum and coke or whatever, you could get that. You don't have to get cocktails. But it's definitely more adult swayed towards, I think, because of that, because it is heavy focus on alcohol. And when you're in there, when I was in there was actually no kids in there. It was only adults, which was really interesting. It is a family-friendly bar, though. Anyone can go. But it's definitely, like, predominantly adults in there. And they have lighting effects. They have sound effects. Beaky, the little animatronic parrot, is iconic. People were singing Yo-Ho Pirate Side for me. We were all having to shout, like, slogans out. It was absolutely incredible. And sometimes Captain Jack Sparrow will also come in. So I highly recommend that. Then I went to Skyline Bar, got an alcoholic drink, and I was like, what's happening? Because I don't drink. And all of a sudden I'm on Disney and 2 trips and I've had 2 drinks. But it was so funny because I was like, the vlog quality might drop massively. So we'll have to see. It'll be funny when I get around to editing this and being like, oh gosh, oh no, what's happened? So yes, suddenly we're now drinking in Disney. It is so fun. Oh, let's have a little look. Oh, it's so amazing when there's so many comments. I have to scroll back. This is so fun. Okay, let's have a little look. Jordan, you said you didn't get to see Art roaming around. You did see lots of videos of him doing it, though, and he looked like great fun, racing people around on his bike. Yes! And this is the thing. So I'd actually heard that so many people had been kind of harassing Art the Clown that they had to kind of remove him from the parks. And now apparently he does go out, but it's kind of very rare to see him. And I'm like, oh, it's such a shame. And it is really frustrating, isn't it, when people can't just act right. And then it kind of spoils things for everyone else. Because, you know, like, the actors should not be getting harassed whatsoever. And in fact, actually, when I was at Halloween Horror Nights, there was a few times where I did see scare actors who were in scare zones, have to break character and call, like, their team leaders over and be like, you need to go and talk to that person. Which is terrible. Like, what an awful thing. Because they're there to kind of just make your night amazing. And it's hard work. It's long hours. You've got the weather to contend with. And, like, we all know the public are terrible. So it's just such a shame. But Art the Clown, whenever I've seen clips on TikTok of him when he is out, hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. Jose, are we going to Disney World solo in 4 weeks? I am in doubt about going to Epic Universe. Would you say that ride shares are safe for solo travellers? And yeah, I think this is the thing. I know lots and lots of people that use Uber and Lyft, and they never have any problem, which I think is really great to know, and it just makes you feel much more comfortable when you know actual people that have done it. I always hire a car, so I am terrible at answering this because I never ever use the ride shares. And I do think one of the reasons I hire the car is, especially as a woman, I'm like very nervous to be in cars with people I don't know. Also, I get motion sick. So I'm like, if I'm driving, I won't feel ill. If someone else is driving, we don't know what's going to happen. But I've had really good experiences with Uber and Lyft, and people kind of had no problems. So that's good to know. Lindsay says, you feel very comfortable visiting the US, very welcoming to us Brits, and definitely go to Epic, do not miss it. And yes, yeah, again, like, I find Americans so friendly and so accommodating, and the amount of different people I speak to and the range of different people I speak to is huge. And that's what I think is really nice, is even if you're on a solo trip, you never really feel on your own, because Americans are so chatty and they're just so excited to talk to you. So you have all these amazing interactions with people, and it's so nice because when you come home, there's some of the things you really remember. I have to tell you, I was obsessed. I got on the plane to fly to Orlando, and I had the most amazing seatmates. They were called Pam and Tommy, and I was like, no way. But they'd been over in Europe because it was their 40th wedding anniversary, so they're the OG Pam and Tommy, and they were so wonderful. We ended up chatting for loads of the flight. They were so interesting, and yeah, I just love every single time I go to the US. I'm always blown away by how friendly and lovely people are. And yeah, if you're solo, you will always have plenty of people to chat with, which is so nice. Stevie says, as someone with a complicated relationship with spending, how do you restrain yourself when it comes to the merch and the outlet? Will I need to sell a kidney? Well, this is the thing. What I was kind of doing when it came to the merch in the parks is I would spot things and then kind of being like, okay, we'll think about this. And then it was that thing of, if I kept thinking about it, I was like, okay, towards the end of the trip, I will get it. And the good thing with Disney World, because there's so many shops, it would be really unfortunate if you were to see something once and you would never find it again. So with that, I was like, okay, I feel comfortable. We can leave things and see how the budget is going towards the end of the trip, which is great. The outlet, I think, can be more difficult, but I suppose it's that thing of thinking about, like, how much do I need this? Which is very hard, because when you see things, you're like, well, I obviously need this. And I'm like, okay, do I want this or do I need this? And to be fair, I definitely bought things that I didn't need. But I think that's the thing. I think the outlet is harder, but in the parks itself, it's not so bad, because you know there's time to get things. You can wait and get things later and just see how much you've been thinking about it. And that's kind of what I did throughout the trip. Interestingly, it's funny because now I'll watch the videos back, and when I'm editing, you'll see stuff and you're like, oh, I forgot about that. But then I'm also like, oh, if I forgot about it, I can't have wanted that much. But then because I re-see it, I'm like, oh, but I did want it. Which is just mad. But I'm very happy with the stuff I got, and I will do a haul video as well to kind of show at the end of the trip everything I did get. Because yeah, I was like, I got way more merch than I expected. Because again, because I was kind of like, I was thinking, right, we're going to have the budget. We're going to have to try and stretch it as far as possible. And like I said, I want to do multi-pass. I want to make sure I'm having the great experiences. So I kind of thought I'd maybe come home with 1 or 2 pieces of merch. But I actually managed to get more out of the budget than I expected. So I was like, this is amazing. It's so good. Lindsay said, I can't help you here. And this is the problem, isn't it? It's all like, we need some sort of like support group, people that find it very hard to not spend all of their money at Disney, because it's so good. It's so true. Laurie says, Mickey's Not So Scary was so much fun. The characters and the trick-or-treat sweet stations were, oh, the characters were in the trick-or-treat sweet stations queue lines, which is so fun. That's such a good thing, isn't it? Because I haven't experienced that before. And how much fun when you think you're just going to go and get some sweets, and then all of a sudden you're meeting villains. That's incredible. Jamie, yes, there is way more seating in the Beacon Barrel than Ogre's Cantina. Because like you say, the downside with Ogre's Cantina is it's mostly standing. And when you're at Disney, you're like, I can't be standing. I need to sit down. But there was way more seats in Beacon Barrel. I do have to say, I was standing. But there wasn't many places that were standing. I think because I was solo, they put me at the bar itself. And they sometimes do this so that they will put solo travellers at the bar together so that you end up chatting. So I had like an amazing chat with the lady who was next to me, and she was a local. It was amazing because she was like, oh, I took a half day off work so that I could come to the Beacon Barrel and drink. And I was like, living the dream. Absolutely amazing. And then you also get chatting to the cast members who all have pirate names, which is amazing. But the majority of the places in Beacon Barrel are seats, which is great. So that's really, really handy. And it might be one of those things, if when you get there, you might be able to actually request, like, actually, I could really do with having a seat. Even if you have to wait a little bit longer, that might be possible. So that would be really, really good. Alison says, you cannot wait to go to the Beacon Barrel. It looks better than Geo 82, which I will still visit, but not as excited. And yeah, I totally agree. I think Beacon Barrel, because it has all the amazing theming, it's just such a fun experience. Whereas Geo 82 looks so relaxed. It's so nice. Beacon Barrel is also significantly cheaper than Geo 82, which I think will also become a factor for people, because Geo 82 is definitely like sophisticated and elegant, but they've definitely gone, we are going to charge you more if it's a child-free space. Because I think it's like $26 for a drink, but once you add tax and tip, it's well over $30 for one drink. So that's a pricey beverage. It's bonkers. Jordan says, I used Uber 3 or 4 times during my recent solo trip and never felt unsafe, which is fantastic to hear. Laurie says, the Hollywood Hotel in Hong Kong is Marvel Avengers themed. The bar is fun, and so is the Captain America's restaurant. Oh my god, that sounds incredible. That sounds so much fun. And the Captain America restaurant sounds amazing. And it's so nice to know there's other Marvel hotels out there, because that's the thing, like, it's so popular. And it's just such a great experience for people to get to stay there. It's kind of like the Star Wars hotel. I'm so sad I didn't get to stay at the Star Cruiser. I just think it was one of those things that it was so expensive that the people that could afford to stay there don't want to essentially do LARPing. But the people that wanted the full immersive experience did not have the budget. And I think that was the problem. They just kind of, there was a disconnect between what was on offer and the price. But I still think they could have changed it to more like a normal hotel and not had the full immersive kind of like LARPing experience. And lowered the rate a bit. And I think it would have been popular. So I don't think they needed to completely scrap it. But alas, it is gone now. It is gone forever. But I'm so glad that there's more than one Marvel hotel, because that will have to be on the list now. That I need to go and stay there. That's going to be so good. Hi Isabel, it's so nice to see you here. Super excited for my Disneyland Paris vlogs. Going there on Tuesday. Did you see any Halloween popcorn buckets? I feel like Disneyland Paris lacks on the popcorn buckets, and that is such a good point. I had seen some buckets, but I don't know if they were more, because they were like in the shops rather than the popcorn stalls. And I feel like it's more like for trick-or-treating, because they were quite big, but they were amazing. And it was like the Mickey pumpkin. And so I didn't really see any popcorn buckets, but then I wasn't really on the lookout for them. But I do agree, they kind of do have, like, not as much on offer when it comes to popcorn buckets at Disneyland Paris. So I'm like, can we do that? Because they're really popular. But I'm so excited you're going so soon. You're going to have the best time. And Halloween is just one of the best times to visit. It's so much fun. And the song for the Halloween parade, I've not stopped thinking about ever since. It's just so fun. Robert said, if you could only ever go to one table service restaurant at Disney World for the rest of your life, which would you choose? Oh my god, that's so good. Because there's so many good restaurants, which makes it really hard, actually. Because I think there's some that are really great for theming, and some that are really great for food. But I'm trying to think, which ones have I loved so much? And are there any that I go every single trip? I do love, if I was going to do character dining, I think it's a hard call, but it would have to be between Topolino or Tusker House. And it's that great benefit of, like, they've both got great food, both got great character interactions. Topolino's has, like, a more elevated feel and an amazing view. But when it comes to table service restaurants in general, oh my god, it's so hard, because there's so many good restaurants. I really like Tiffin's. I think that has amazing food. And the fact that basically you're also in a museum without kind of realising you're in a museum is so cool. And yeah, just the food so good. Oh, this is so hard because there's so many good restaurants. And that's actually something I do think is great about Disney World. The food quality at Disney World is definitely much better than Disneyland Paris. And I think the quality versus price is much better. The food in Disney World is definitely cheaper than Disneyland Paris. And the quality is better, variety is better. But oh my god, if I could only eat in one restaurant forever. It's so hard. I am such a bad person when it comes to these questions. You know, like when people say, like, what's your favourite book, your favourite film? I can never ever answer because I'm like, it changes daily. And I will spend about 5 hours thinking about, but yes, but that's good. But then this one's good because of this. And it's so bad because it should just be a simple answer. But I'm trying to think in my head through every single park which my favourite restaurants are. And then also the hotels, because I think some of the best restaurants are actually in the hotels themselves. But I do like a lot of them, which is a problem. There are some that I kind of think are overrated though. I think Ohana's massively overrated now. I think it always used to be really good, but I think the food on offer is not as good now. And it's one of those that people still love to go to because they've heard it's amazing. And I think we can knock that off the list, guys. We don't need to. Unless you love Stitch, then that's a really great character dining breakfast. But I think we can drop Ohana. And I think there's other restaurants that are better, that you'll have a more fun experience. Like, one restaurant that I think is really underrated is Jico in Animal Kingdom Lodge. Amazing food, great setting, and like very few people kind of talk about it. I do think it is more difficult to get to hotels, and there's definitely hotels that are easier to visit. One of the ones, I've just thought of one that I absolutely love and could go to every single time, which is Sebastian's Bistro. And the fact it's on a Skyliner route is amazing because it's so easy to get to. But the food there is unreal. And it's one of the cheapest like table service meals at Disney World, which is always one of those things I hate to mention because I get paranoid that Disney are going to go, oh, people keep saying it's cheap. And I'm like, no, I didn't say cheap. It's the cheapest. Don't start putting the price up. But Sebastian's I could go to every single trip. That dessert in particular, which I've also heard, you can actually go to Banana Cabana, which to me feels unnatural to say because I want to say Banana Cabana, but it doesn't rhyme then. You can actually order it there. It's like a secret thing. So you don't have to go to Sebastian's. You can get the amazing pineapple coconut bread pudding from Banana Cabana. So I'm like, I might have to do that because it's so good. Oh, Jordan says you've got an Uber One subscription and always used Uber Comfort, which guarantees a highly rated driver with a minimum amount of rides completed, I think. That's really handy to know because I'm someone that is so out of the loop with like Uber and stuff like that. But it's really good to know that you can have Uber Comfort, and that would be something I would do because getting a highly rated driver would be key. Because like I say, with the motion sickness, if I ever have to get like a taxi or something or a private transfer, I spend so much time trying to look up who has the drivers that drive the most calmly so that I'm going to feel well. So that's really handy to know. Jose says, when I went on my last solo trip to Disney World, I met an American family at my hotel. We had a great chat, and then I met them 2 times more during the trip. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's so nice when you have these little encounters. And like, I always remember the first time I went on Tron, I was just so lucky because I ended up front row, which I never thought as a solo traveller would happen. But basically, the people in front of me were a group of 3. And they got split up. So 2 people were in the last row, and the man got put in the front row. And then, because I was solo, I got put with him. So I was like, I can't believe this is my first ever ride. And then he was talking to me, and he was like, oh, have you ever been on a motorbike? And I was like, no. And he was like, oh, I own motorbikes. This is really similar to what it feels like to be on a motorbike, which was really cool. And then when we got to the bit we were getting to the launch, he was like, well, what are we doing for the photo? And I was like, obviously arms up. And he was like, okay. So we both had our arms up, and it was just so nice to have these little moments, and you really do come away with them. And I will always talk about the I met the friendliest lady, and we must have talked for about 45 minutes, and her poor husband was sat there probably thinking, can we go back to the hotel? Because like it was when the park had closed, so it was actually good because we were kind of waiting for people to clear up, but we were talking, and I was saying, oh, where are you from? And she was like, oh, it's really small, you would have never have heard of it. And I said, oh, you know, have a go. I'll see. And then she said, Amarillo, Texas. And I was like, obviously I've heard of Amarillo, Texas. And she was like, oh, how? And I was like, the song? And she was like, what song? And then she was mentioning some sort of song about like some sort of Rose of Texas or something. And I was like, sorry, you don't know, is this the way to Amarillo? I was like, is it? I would assume at like 5 p.m. they blare it out across the town. They don't. She'd never heard of it. And then I did something which I would never normally do. And I was like, you have to get YouTube up right now. And you have to listen to this. She'd never heard the song. And it was amazing. So we had this great time listening to Reservation Amarillo and bonding over how everyone in the UK knows that song word by word, and she assumed no one would know where Amarillo, Texas was. So it's so lovely when you have these moments. Alison says, I have friends that pop to Disney after work, especially during food and wine. How cool would that be? What a dream, isn't it? It's so nice just to be able to go, yeah, like you say, I'm going to go and have dinner at Epcot, just walk around, get a few different snacks and a beer or something like that. Like, it's so nice when you have that. Although it's interesting, because I do think there is some people I know that live locally, or like people you will see and on like social media and stuff, and you can definitely see like the shine has come off, or they definitely kind of don't appreciate it as much as people that don't get to visit as often. And it's that difficult thing. Like, I would give absolutely anything to go to Disney World every day. It's like my favourite place on earth. I'm not happier anywhere else. But it's also that thing, it's nice that when we go, every single second is so precious because we don't get to go as often. Whereas I think it can become easy. It's like anything, isn't it? If you've got access to it all the time, it becomes like second nature, or you can take it for granted a bit, even subconsciously, you're not intending to. So it's that hard thing of like, it's horrible when you can only know I'm going to be there for a week and I don't know when I'll go back. But then you appreciate every single moment, which is so nice. But it would be a dream just to go, I've finished what I need to do today. I'm just going to go to Magic Kingdom and see the fireworks. Like, how amazing would that be? This is the thing. Whenever people talk about superpowers, I'm like, the only answer, and I don't know why this isn't everyone's answer, the only answer for me is teleportation. And I'm like, why have we not created that? Because if I could just go, and then I'm there, because it's not even just about the fact that you could go to Magic Kingdom or whatever in the evening. It's the fact, like, travel day. Like, even Disneyland Paris. So the flight to Disneyland Paris, well, the flight to Paris from London is like 40 minutes. It's very quick, which is amazing. However, it's like, right, I wake up, I drive an hour and a half to get to the airport. Then I have to get a 25-minute bus from the car park to the airport. Then I'm at the airport for like 2.5 hours. I'm on a nice little 40-minute flight. That's good. Then I've got to wait for the train. By the time you get to Disneyland Paris, you've been travelling for like 7-8 hours, and it's only a 40-minute flight. And I'm like, we've got to do something about this, and it's clearly teleportation. Like, that's the thing. We just need efficiency. We need to get there quickly. It'll be so good. Laurie says, I left Disney and Islands of Adventure with no merch. However, Halloween Horror Nights and Epics was a different story. I now have 4 Epic popcorn buckets. And as I collect reusable shopping bags, I've left my Mel's dye-in bag at the hotel. Oh my god, that must be so upsetting when it's something you collect and it's like, I can't believe this has been left behind. And that's so sad. But I'm so glad you got so much merch, because it's just so nice when you come home with all of these things that remind you of your trip, especially when it's usable things. That's why I always buy a lot of clothing, because I'm like, well, that's going to be worn loads, so that's absolutely necessary. That's not even indulgent. It's essential. And stuff like bags, we need reusable shopping bags. So, like, we've got to buy this merch. Yes, Anne-Marie, Boma is amazing. Such a good restaurant. Delicious food. Such a great setting. Like, the hotel's just beautiful as well, isn't it, to walk around? So good. Robert said, I hope the food is better in Orlando. My partner ordered the chili at Walt's and was served crunchy, undercooked rice. Yeah, that is not good. And there's definitely a difference. Like, Disneyland Paris, unfortunately, a lot of the food is cooked off-site and brought in. So you can't really do a lot of modification, anything like that, because the dishes have already been made. Whereas Disney World, they're much more accommodating. And in the US, it's very common for people to modify their dishes. So if you ever need, like, oh, can I have it without this in? They're very accommodating. And I find, like, the quality of the food, the range of different foods on offer is just much better. I do think if you don't research the restaurants in advance, or where you're going to eat in advance, you could end up eating similar food every single day in Disney World. But if you do a little bit of research, then you can find out where the interesting dishes are, the best food is. And then you just have such good... Every time I go, I'm like, It's amazing. Although this trip, I ate in a restaurant that I deliberately put off because I heard mixed reviews. Some people absolutely loved it. Some people hated it. So I put it off, and it's one of the worst restaurants I've ever eaten at in Disney World. It was awful, and it was Cosmic Rays, and I was so sad. But the meal I had was horrible. Like, it was really not nice. And then I was so excited to see Sunny Eclipse. And if it was Sunny Eclipse on his own, I think it would have been great. And he's like an old school entertainer. He's making little quips. He's singing. It would have been great. However, he was very loud because inside the restaurant itself, it was like an echo chamber. And there were literally hundreds of people in there. So hearing hundreds of people talking and it being like echoed, so it was really loud, and then he was having to like shout over the top of them, and I was so overstimulated, which doesn't really happen. And I was like, I had to put headphones in and like put like music on really loud because I was like, I literally can't be in here because it's driving me nuts. And I was like, I will never come back to this restaurant. It was so bad. So it'll be very interesting to see how I was trying to keep it together in the vlog series. I was like, we try and talk about this meal. But I was struggling. I really couldn't get through it. Oh, I love it. Jamie says Boma is amazing, such good soup. And that's the thing, I think the food there is so good. And it's nice to have such like unique options. And I think that's the thing, a lot of people I think are worried about like if it's like a mixture of African and American foods, will I like it? But I think the flavours are great. I don't think it's one of those that like you have to be into African food to like it. I think you'll be so impressed. Regardless of what you like. It's so good. Actually, somewhere else I would like to point out that I think is now massively overrated is Sanaa, which is such a shame because Sanaa always used to be incredible. And the first time I went there, I was obsessed. And I think it was probably my favourite restaurant I ate in Disney World. So I went back last year. Really not good at all. Really not good. And I was like, wow. I don't know if I just went on a bad night, but it was one of those that I was like, it's not now, in the future, it wouldn't be on my list, like, I have to go. So I think it'll be a few trips before I go back. But yeah, that was such a shame. But Boma, always so good. And like I say, Gico, I think, is super underrated, which is so good. But Natalie said, hi Natalie, it's lovely to see you. You've just got back from Florida and did Halloween Horror Nights, which was amazing. Love seeing Art the Clown walking around and interacting with guests. And you did just a week as well. And that's amazing. I'm so glad you got that experience. I was so sad that Art was not roaming when I was there because that's what I was most excited for. But I'm so glad you saw him because the interactions look absolutely hysterical. And what did you think of doing a week? I was so impressed. Like I said, I would absolutely do a week again. You can fit so much more in than you think. Like, I can't wait. Like, I actually think these vlogs are going to be the longest vlogs I've ever done. The day one vlog, I've still got a little bit to edit, so I think it'll be less than this, but I think it's going to be possibly like an hour and a half vlog, which I've never done a vlog that long, I don't think. Even the Halloween Horror Nights vlog that's gone out today was 55 minutes, which I was so impressed with, especially because, like, you can film the event itself, but you can't film in the houses. So I couldn't believe how much I managed to film just at the event itself, which was so good. But yeah, it's just amazing how much you can do in a week, and I was blown away. Lindsay, you're so right. We could go to Universal after work in a few years' time. And that's the thing. If you live near Bedford, can you imagine how iconic it is going to be just going all the time? It's going to be so good. But I definitely feel like I want to get an annual pass. I do think it's going to be one of those. I have heard a lot of people have said that it will probably be like Epic Universe at the moment where they aren't offering the annual pass because it's so popular, obviously, at the moment. So it'll probably take a little while for once it dies down, then they'll offer an annual pass. But I love the idea of getting a frequent fear pass for Halloween Horror Nights because that's going to be so good. And also they're going to have a hotel there, which I'm really excited about. And it'll be great to see what that's going to look like. I think it's like 500 bedrooms. They're going to have like a city walk. So yeah, I just think it's going to be so good. And it'll be great for people coming from mainland Europe because they'll be able to get the Eurostar to London. They're going to have the new train connection that's going to go to Universal. It's going to be absolutely perfect. So it's just so much fun. Alison, I'm so with you on the superpower. Teleportation would be great and good to visit Disney in Japan. and we'd be home for dinner where the vegan options are available. 100% that, because that is the one thing that's stopping me going from the Asian parks. And actually someone had said, Callie asked, would you like to visit the Asian parks? And I am desperate to go. And I'd really like to do, if possible, the one where you do all 3 in one trip. But it's just this vegan thing that's the problem. Because even if there was like a handful of options and you could just keep cycling through them, I would absolutely be loving that. But I was so worried. Like, people have said you're gonna need to take loads of food with you, and I'm like, oh god, the idea of like eating just not proper meals and out of your suitcase for like, if you did 2 weeks, if you did all 3 parks, I think would be a struggle. But if you, again, teleportation, or even like Japan, like if you're in Tokyo itself, there's so many great vegan restaurants specific. And I think it's one of those things, if you go to an actual vegan restaurant, it's amazing. If you go to other restaurants, it's very difficult to find anything. But if you could go, oh, I don't want to get the hour-long metro, I'm just at the restaurant. It would be amazing. It'd be so good. Oh my god, I love that you're 30 minutes away, Alison. It's going to be so iconic. It's going to be so good once it opens. It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Jose. It's been so wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for all of your amazing questions and comments and tips. It's been fantastic. Anne Marie, you're like, Cosmic Rays is the worst. A lot of Magic Kingdom counter service is not the best. And I totally agree. It's interesting, isn't it? Because Magic Kingdom is like the park that everyone thinks of when they think of Disney World. But the food is not great, particularly like you say, counter service. Like, it's not good. However, I did go to Pecco Bill's. And when I was there last year, I had 2 different meals because whilst I was there, they did a menu change. And they had this new flatbread, which I hated. It was, again, it was one of the worst meals of my last trip. Hated it. They've got rid of it. And now they have this new rice bowl. Immediately the best thing you can get in Magic Kingdom. It was so good. So good. I actually had it twice during the trip. And yeah, so it was really nice to find like a really good option at Magic Kingdom and probably the worst option in the same trip, and being like, okay, I'm glad I've ticked Cosmic Rays off, but we can scratch that one out now. We won't go there again. And it's interesting because I've heard some people, they really liked the like patty melt, which is what I had. And I was like, I don't know if I just had like a bad batch, but it just was not appetizing at all. Like it was even one of those things like normally when they have like the Impossible burgers, I don't mind it. Like I quite like Impossible Meat, Beyond Meat, and all of those things. But this, I was like, is this impossible? Because it did not taste the same. It just was not great. And it was like bread instead of a bun, but the bread wasn't even toasted. So it was just very strange. And I was just like, guys, we can't. I can't listen to the noise. I can do one or the other, but I can't do both. It was so funny. And you're so right, Jamie. It's weird that Magic Kingdom has the worst food options, because I'm like, what's that about? Because like you say, it's like the park everyone thinks of. So you think they'd go, we've got to go all out. Whereas other parks have like amazing food, and you're like, and that's the thing. I'm like, because there's so many good options now, particularly in like newer land, and even when I say newer lands, they're not necessarily new. So like Pandora, amazing food options. Galaxy's Edge, incredible food options. Toy Story Land, great options. I'm like, could we not implement some of this in Magic Kingdom? Like, just switch things up a bit. Anne-Marie says, used Diamond Driver Guy for your transport to Disneyland. Excellent service. Can't thank you enough for mentioning them. And I'm so glad you had an amazing service. Like, I love Diamond Driver Guy. It was so fun because it was, like, you kind of think about, like, airport transport. I literally just taking you from A to B. But I had the best time chatting to everyone. I got so many great tips. And I'm still in contact with Adrian now, who owns Diamond Driver Guy. Like, he's so lovely. And, I'm so glad you had an amazing experience, because it's just so nice to kind of start your trip off with like such friendly people and not have to worry and be able to stop at a supermarket. It's one of those silly little things, but it makes such a difference, particularly because when you're going to like Anaheim, you're going to spend most of your time in Disney. You don't want to have to be faffing about trying to find a supermarket or getting Ubers and stuff like that. So it's so handy just to go, we'll stop in there on the way to your hotel and it's all done. So it's so good. And I've seen Adrian also does, like, if you like wanted to see LA and all of the big spots. And I didn't realise this. They've got like a big Funko. I thought it was just going to be like a shop. But I don't know if it's like the factory. But you could go in there and they will make a Funko of you. And I'm like, don't. So I'm like, the next time I go to California, I need to also double it up with a trip to LA. Because I've done that before. Absolutely fantastic. And I'm like, I need to go to this Funko factory now because it looks so much fun. It's so good. Jordan, you said you went to Sanaa for lunch, and the bread service and giraffe views were great. You'd love to go back, and yes, I think that's the thing. Like, it's so interesting that people are getting such different experiences now. Whereas I think before it was so consistent. But like you say, the views are amazing. The savannah there is so incredible. But yeah, I've had the bread service both times. The first time was one of the best things I've ever had. Not great, and I was just like, what's happening, guys? Is this like an off night? Which it could be. There's a very good chance that it's just a one-off experience. And it's really great actually to hear people who've had amazing experiences. So it's still worth going to for one of the like iconic Disney World restaurants. Laurie says, you love to eat in Pinocchio's Village House. The cheese and tomato pizza is good, especially dipped in ranch. And that's the thing, when I went to Pinocchio's Village House, I was expecting it to be really terrible because I thought it's going to be really basic, not very nice. And I was impressed. I thought it was really, really tasty. I obviously had the vegan cheese pizza. I thought it was really good. I would absolutely go back there again. And I was very impressed. Very impressed. And I think you're so right. I think people probably think, oh, it's just going to be theme park type pizza. But actually, I think it's really great, which is good to know. Natalie loved doing a week and did a lot more than what I thought I would. Bought plenty of the clown merch. Couldn't resist. That's the thing. I was desperate for all of the Art the Clown merch. But so much of it was sold out when I was there. And I literally went in every single shop. Mostly the t-shirts were almost impossible to get, but what was good is there's 3 Terrifier t-shirts. There's 2 black ones and 1 white Clown Cafe t-shirt. The 2 black ones, they were just extra small everywhere. Everyone was crowding around. Everyone was very sad. No one could buy the t-shirt. Did not see the Clown Cafe t-shirt at all, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to come home with a t-shirt. However, on my way out, I stopped in all of the shops that I'd already been in again, just in case they'd put any out. And the final shop in actually City Walk that I went in had literally just put some out. They were quite big, so I think it is kind of too big, but actually that's better, isn't it? Because you can tuck things in, you can style things if they're big, it doesn't matter. And I managed to get a Clown Cafe t-shirt, and I was so excited. But I also got the Art of the Clown popcorn bucket, which is absolutely incredible. I got a mug, I got a Christmas ornament, and I got an event t-shirt for the actual kind of night. So I'd love to hear what you got because it was just so good. Rob says, is mini golf included with a 14-day ticket? And if so, which of the mini golf courses would you recommend more? And the great news is it is, which is fantastic, and it's so much fun. There's Winter Summerland and Fantasia Gardens. What's fun is Winter Summerland actually has 2 courses, one that's winter themed and one that is summer themed. And then Fantasia Gardens, I think, is just one big kind of miniature golf course. When I've been there to play, Fantasia Gardens was undergoing renovation, so I've actually never been to Fantasia Gardens, but I have been to Winter Summerland, and it was so much fun. I loved it. I think we did the winter course, but I do love that you can choose both, or you could do both even if you wanted to. And they're just so fun. They're really interactive. Like, they have things where, like, if you get the ball into the hole, like, interactive things will happen. And I think it's a really great thing to do as, like, a rest day activity. And the fact that it's included in the tickets is amazing. I do think they only open at certain times. And I think it does tell you you'll get information about the golf course, what times you can go to it with the tickets. But I think it's so worthwhile and so much fun. It's so good. Stevie, who are your favourite characters to meet? Any characters you don't love? I'm with you when it comes to the rampant Stitch mania. Don't get it. Yeah, I never meet Stitch because I'm just like, I don't understand it. And that's the funny thing, actually. Like, Disney World have Stitch, of course. But as soon as you go out to Disneyland Paris, you're like, why is everything Stitch? Like, it's actually nuts. Like, some shots are like 50% Stitch merch. And I'm like, who's buying this? Because I don't actually know anyone that likes Stitch. And I'm like, I don't know if it's just per chance that you know, like, birds of a feather flock together, so we've all ended up not being massive Stitch fans. But I'm like, how are they selling this much merch? Because someone's buying it, but I don't know any of them. So, but I do love meeting the villains because I think they're always so much fun, and I think you can kind of interact with them and like riff with them a bit. So I always kind of will talk about see, I'm one of these weird people. I actually prefer meeting face characters. I know a lot of people prefer meeting fur characters because I think there's less pressure. But I think face characters are fun because you can have conversations with them. Whereas fur characters blow my mind because it's amazing how they can interact through body language. Like, I think that's absolutely incredible. But I think sometimes face characters you can have more funny interactions because you can talk back and forth. So I do always love meeting the Disney villains. I've loved meeting Lady Tremaine and Dr. Facilier. They've been some of my absolute favourites. I think I always love meeting Mickey, and I always love meeting Donald. I think Donald is such a hoot because he's so sassy and he has so much character that I think he's hysterical. And but I think Mickey, you just can't go wrong. And there's something like there is like a star quality, and it is so funny whenever you meet Mickey because it never gets any less exciting. But I don't think I've ever had about. I have had an experience which was funny, but I feel like other people may have been offended. But I once went to 100 Park Fair back when it was the Cinderella era. And I'd had an amazing encounter with Lady Tremaine, and we'd become best friends, and it was iconic. And then I met Prince Charming, and I was saying, like, oh, my parents are trying to marry me off, so this morning I met Gaston, and now I've come here to come and meet you. And he went, I think you should go over there with the ugly stepsisters. And I was like, oh, okay. Not so charming, is he? And it was actually really funny. But it's one of those things that I think you could see him kind of panic, like, oh no, because it's one of those things you just naturally say something, but then you're like, if it's the wrong person, they might be really offended. So I thought that was very funny. But I also loved meeting Gaston, and I wish they'd bring it back in Magic Kingdom because he is so good to meet. But yeah, there's so many great characters. But I'd love there to be more villains around, more villains that you can meet because they're just so fun. They're so funny. And stuff like Dr. Facilier, I am obsessed with him. He's not represented enough. We need to see him more. That's all I want. It's just him, basically. And Jamie says, do a Funko of yourself is coming to their website. You saw a teaser banner. That is amazing. That's going to be so much fun. What a great thing to have. Is it really self-indulgent? Probably. But it still sounds very fun. It sounds so good. Does anyone here have a character they've met that they've been like, that was like a top tier experience? Because I always love hearing who people have met. Or have you ever met like a really rare character and you're like, I can't believe I spotted that person when I was out and about. That's the thing, like when I was in Disneyland, I met Dr. Facilier, and this was way back in 2017. But he was just wandering around. It was not like an official meet and greet. He was just wandering around, and I happened to meet him. And I've never seen him before or after. It's the only time I've ever seen him in a Disney park, and I was like, oh my god. And to be fair, I have seen him in like parades and stuff, but not to meet. And that was so, so good. It was so good. Oh my god, wait, the Funko website has it. You can have yourself made already. That is amazing. Okay, I'll definitely have to look this up because it's so fun. It'll be so good. Natalie, you brought the black t-shirt with the little clown girl on and the Universal Studios sign, the Christmas sweatshirt, which was iconic. It was so good. And the magnet with Art wearing the sunflower glasses. I actually had some sunflower glasses that I took with me, which was awesome. But that is an amazing haul. It's so good. Jamie said Donald is the best. I made sure to meet him every day on my last trip, sometimes twice. He is so funny. And he makes me laugh so, so much. And I love that he's not afraid to, like, have attitude. I just love it. Rob, Thor was hilarious to me. Yes! The Marvel characters are so good. Every time I've met, like you say, Thor's amazing. Loki is always absolutely hysterical. Doctor Strange is amazing to me. Like, so many good Marvel characters, which is so much fun. And, like, the Star Wars characters are so good as well. This time, I was actually very lucky because I got to go to Star Wars Launch Bay just before it's closed permanently. And in there, they had the most amazing photo spot where it was set up like a bar. So it was like a cantina. And there was a cast member who had lightsabers to give to you. But he was the best at directing you of the poses to do with the lightsabers. So we did all these really cool poses. And then he was like, oh, just casually pretend you're like hanging out at the bar drinking a drink and holding your lightsaber. And the photos were so funny. And it was so wonderful. We had like a full photo shoot. So we're so sad that has closed, but they are going to be kind of revamping that area of the park, which totally makes sense. I honestly thought that's where Monsters Inc. was going to go. Because it's so much easier to move. Like, Star Wars Launch Bay makes total sense to move it to Galaxy's Edge and move those characters. Disney Junior, I think they could absolutely move that to a different part of the park. I thought that's where Monsters Inc. was going to go. Instead, we've ruined the Muppets. But they have now shot all of that. It's going to be updated, revamped. But, yeah, I'd forgotten about all of those characters. Because, yeah, Marvel and Star Wars characters are also so fun to meet. Alison says, Jiminy Cricket was your best ever character meet by accident in Animal Kingdom and never seen again. That would be amazing. And what an amazingly rare character to meet. Like, that is so much fun. He sounds so cute. Stevie loved meeting Darth Vader. He was so camp. Yes, and it's so funny because I like that Darth Vader or Kylo Ren, I think they have, like, generic things that, they can, like, that come out of their mouth. Like, they're not actually speaking, it's just generic phrases. But I think it's so funny because you never know what they're going to say, and then you're like, you can be caught off of guard because if you're talking to someone, obviously they're reacting to what you're saying, whereas they're having to kind of pick the phrases that match what you're saying. Something else I'd like to point out, every single time, I don't know how it works, Turtle Talk with Crush. Or stuff like Monsters Inc. Like, obviously, they have cameras that they can see the audience, they know who they're talking to. And that's how they're obviously having someone who's live speaking the part. However, how does the animation match up to the mouth? That's what blows my mind. Literally, to this day, I still can't work out how they do it. And every time I go, I'm like, this is incredible. And that's what I spend the majority of my time thinking about, rather than like the actual experience and what's being said. I'm just thinking, but how is the facial expressions and the mouth matching up to exactly what's being said? And it's incredible. It's one of those Disney moments of magic. Jamie says the rarest character that you met at Disney was Fan Day. Was at Fan Days, which Disneyland Paris has never done again. But getting to meet Bullseye, that would have been amazing, from Toy Story, and Phil and Meg from Hercules are highlights for me. What amazing characters! Again, like so rare. That sounds absolutely idyllic, and yeah, it's such a shame, isn't it, when they do like these amazing fun things, and then it's like a one-off, or it kind of gets retired. It's like I would like them to bring back Run Disney to Disneyland Paris because they look so much fun. The American events are so popular. My friend Liz went to like every single one in Disneyland Paris. She had a Facebook group about it. She was like, they were so good. And I hope eventually they will bring it back. But yeah, it's so nice when you get to see these rare characters or go to parts of the park that you wouldn't normally get to go to, which looks so good. Stevie says, do you highly rate the experiences like the backstage tour or creating your own lightsaber? Are they worth the price? I would say the backstage tours are amazing, totally worth the price. I have not done a backstage tour that I haven't enjoyed, and I think what's great is some of them are really cheap. They start from like $30, so they don't have to be super expensive. I've done the behind the scenes tour and the Caring for Giants tour, which were both $30 each. One where you go into the greenhouses on living with the land, and one where you go backstage at Animal Kingdom to see how they care for the elephants. Absolutely amazing. So worth the $30. Loved it. I've also done Keys to the Kingdom. Obsessed. If you love Disney parks or the history, stuff like that, you will absolutely love it. I've learned so much, and it was so fun going into the utilidors and all of these backstage areas. Same with Walt's apartment tour in Disneyland. If you love Walt Disney, getting to go into his actual apartment, hearing so much history and so much about Walt and his family was amazing. So yeah, I think they add so much. And I do think the lightsaber building experience is so fun because I love that it is an experience and like, it's quite emotional, like it's great. That has gone up in price. That is really pricey. And I do think that the lightsabers are really cool. I think there are better quality lightsabers that are still expensive, but either the legacy ones that you can kind of get in Disney itself, or there are other brands that do lightsabers which I think are better quality. But the fact that you're getting to design your own lightsaber, I think is really cool because you kind of don't get that in other places. And I do think that's really great. But I would say you'd have to be a proper Star Wars fan to want to do it because it is so expensive. I think it's like $250 without tax. So it's very expensive now. But If you're a Star Wars fan, the experience in itself is amazing, and then getting to pick all the individual parts and customize it to yourself is amazing. Like, so good. Robert said it's sad that if a Disney film doesn't do well at the box office, there's no representation of them in the parks. I'd love there to be Luca or Onward representation in the parks. Yes, it's such a shame. And I actually think the only reason the films don't do well is because they don't promote them. There's so many Disney films that I didn't see any trailers for, any posters for, anything. And I think if people knew about them, they'd want to see them. It's like Elio I saw this year, and I only knew about it because I go to the cinema about once a week. So whenever I'm looking up the film times, I saw it come up, and I was like, oh my god, this is the new Disney film. Didn't ever see a trailer for it, didn't see a poster for it. Loved it. It was such a good film, and I think that's the thing, because one of the reasons they do a lot of the live action remakes is the hardest part of anything is marketing. And with a live action remake, you don't have to spend money on marketing because everyone knows Snow White, everyone knows Lilo and Stitch, they know them and they're going to go and see them. Whereas new films, it's really hard to get people to go, oh, that looks interesting, I'll go and see it. But it's almost like they've given up marketing the new films and then they're like, oh, they're all a flop. And I'm like, it's because no one knows about them. And if they knew, they'd probably go and see them because they have been really good with it. And like you say, I loved Onwards. I never hear anyone talk about it. I thought it was such a good film. Luca was so cute. And yeah, like you say, because they then didn't do like a huge box office success, you don't get anything of them in the parks, which is such a shame. But like I say, I think in the long run that could be problematic for Disney because where all the new rides and attractions are IP, it's like, which IPs are we going to start using? Because if all of these films haven't been a huge financial success, they don't represent them. So I'm like, well, what are we going to start showing, guys? And I think it is sad because people had said, and I was like, this is a good point, that obviously our generation, I don't know if we're all the same age here, but people that are millennials, particularly older millennials, grew up in like the Renaissance, the second golden age of Disney films. So you grew up with Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, all of these incredible films. Whereas younger kids don't have that. They haven't had like back-to-back huge Disney films. So unless their family are into Disney and kind of show them these films that don't get as much marketing, they just do not have the same feeling about Disney that we do. And it's interesting because I'm like, I think people's kids are less interested to visit Disney now, unless you come from like a Disney family where your parents will show you Disney films and the classics and stuff, and then you get into it that way. I think there is less for kids to kind of get into Disney with, which is so sad. So I'm like, I mean, millennials will keep Disney going forever. Well, until we die. Like, but we will continue to go. I'll be 90 and getting a multi-pass so that I can not queue as long because I physically can't stand anymore. But like, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what younger generations really connect with. It's just Nars. But yeah, I agree a lot. Yes, I love that everyone liked Elio because it was such a cute film. And I think it was something that's so relatable and like, the animation was beautiful. Like it was so good. So yeah, I feel like if they pushed it more people would have seen it and loved it. But Stevie says, what's my favourite resort to stay at? And it's so difficult because I have to say I've never stayed at a resort that I haven't liked, which I think is a really good sign, right? Because it's the worst when you're like, yeah, that's not good, I wouldn't go there again. I've always liked all the resorts I've stayed at. And there's actually resorts that I haven't stayed at yet that I'm desperate to stay at. So at Disney World, I'd love to work my way through all of them. I have not stayed at loads. I've stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge. I've stayed at Caribbean Beach. I've stayed at a few of the all-star resorts. And at the moment, because I do solo trips mostly, I stay mostly at the all-star resorts. So I keep going back to them because they're the most affordable. And they've got everything you need. And I do think, I like that they have the smaller size. Like Animal Kingdom Lodge is stunning. Like the lobby is incredible. The Savannah is obviously amazing. But they're huge hotels. Huge to get around. Whereas All-Star, what's really nice is they're much more smaller to get around. So I kind of like that. I would love to stay at Pop Century because I love going on the Skyliner. So I think having a hotel where you can go on the Skyliner anytime you want is amazing. I'd love to stay at the Polynesian. That's like one of my dream resorts, and Wilderness Lodge. They're like my two big ones at Disney World that I would love to like bucket list to stay at. Disneyland Paris, I don't think there's a bad hotel. I loved the Art of Marvel Hotel, and it's one of those things, like, obviously it's something that's more of a treat. But it'll be amazing to get to stay there again at some point in the future. I do really love Newport Bay. I love the like nautical theming, but I also love the Cheyenne. Cheyenne is one of my favourite Disney hotels because it's just so well themed. Um, I love the Wild West theme. I love the Toy Story rooms. I'm obsessed with the boot lamp. I'm obsessed with Woody's shirt being the curtains. And I think that is what's really nice about Disney, is that obviously the higher the like grade of the hotel, the more luxurious they feel. But it's nice to me that the value resorts don't feel like they're shortchanging you or they're basic. I think they're just as amazing. So yeah, I think there's just so many good resorts, and I'd love to go to like the Toy Story Hotel in Tokyo. I think that'll be amazing. I'm loving that Laurie has told us there's a Marvel hotel that I need to be going to. The only place I would say where I probably, unless I won the lottery, I wouldn't stay at the hotels is California, just because they're expensive. They're so expensive compared to the other hotels in the area. I have to say, like, the Disneyland Hotel is beautiful, so historic, and the Grand Californian Hotel is stunning, particularly when I was there at the Christmas season and that giant Christmas tree. Beautiful. They are amazing resorts. However, they are like 6 times the price of an off-site hotel. They are unbelievably expensive. So it's one of those that, unless it was like a lottery win, probably would just stay off-site at Disneyland, because I don't think there's any real need to stay at a Disney hotel there. But I love hearing other people's favourite hotels as well, because it's always nice to go, oh, actually, I've heard this hotel's really, really good. I'm going to go stay there next. Interestingly, I hear a lot of people don't like Caribbean Beach. And I liked Caribbean Beach a lot. I found it so nice to be able to come back after a long park day that's busy, and it's so relaxing there, where you have like the beaches and the hammocks. All of the dining's really good there. And now it has the Skyliner as well, which is an added benefit. But I really liked Caribbean Beach, so I don't know why people dislike it a lot, but it's one that people seem to dislike a lot at Disney World. I'd also love to stay at Port Orleans, because I just think that looks so relaxing and so nice. And New Orleans is one of my favourite places I've ever been to in my life. And to have it kind of represented there, and like, again, the food looks really good there. Amazing. It's so good. Anne-Marie says you love Sequoia Lodge and Cheyenne, which is so exciting. I love Cheyenne as well. And Sequoia Lodge, I'm actually going to stay in November, because I'm going back to Disneyland Paris for the Christmas season, which is very exciting. So we're going to have Disney World vlogs for the next 7 weeks, because the first one's already gone out. From next Sunday, we're going to have 3 Disneyland Paris vlogs going out. And then when Disney World is finished, it'll be more Disneyland Paris vlogs for Christmas, and that will take us up to Christmas, which is very exciting. But I'm really excited to stay at Sequoia Lodge, especially in the winter season, because it feels like that's peak Sequoia Lodge, like with the fire in the lobby and stuff. I think it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be nice because it'll be just before the renovation. Obviously, next year they are starting like a lengthy renovation throughout the hotel. The new design, I think, looks really, really nice, actually. Like, really sleek. It does look a little bit like they are taking some of the theming out. But I do think, even though Sequoia Lodge was not the last hotel to be renovated at Disneyland Paris, or sorry, it's not the one that hasn't been renovated the nearest to now, it feels a bit dated. So I think it'll be nice to have this more modern look. But I'm like, don't remove all the Disney theming, please. Don't start doing that. Also, I'm so excited to see what the theme is going to be for this new Disneyland Paris hotel. It's not coming for like the 11 years. It's going to be a long wait, but it'll be really interesting to see what that's going to be. And it's going to be between Newport Bay and Disney Village. So I can't wait to see if they're going to theme it around Frozen or Lion King, because those are new things, or if it'll be something completely different. So I think that's going to be really interesting. Stevie said, I stayed at All Stars Movie Resort in I was going to say 2002, and I'm like, that's not how we say that date, is it? 2002, and loved it. Next trip will be 2027 in Port Orleans, French Quarter, and hope it will be a treat. Such a dream resort. It just looks so nice, and to have like that relaxing boat that you can get to Disney Springs is so lovely. And yeah, I just love everything about it, and the fact that you've got so many like trees around you, the river. It just looks so relaxing. So I think you're gonna have the best time. Yes, Anne-Marie, so excited to see how much Sequoia Lodge is going to be after the renovation. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, is it going to put it up massively? And that's the thing. It's like, guys, don't do that. Don't do that because we want to still be able to stay there. So don't start making the prices prohibitive because it's the thing. And like I say, that's the thing that's interesting, isn't it? Like, when the Art of Marvel opened, they priced it the same as Disneyland Hotel, and like Disneyland Hotel obviously then shut renovations. And then because that was the top tier hotel, when that came back, they were like, "Oh, well now we've priced Art of Marvel the same price as what Disneyland Hotel used to be. Disneyland Hotel has to be much more expensive," and it's just spiraling. And we're like, guys, we need to calm down. And I know like World of Frozen is gonna be amazing, and more people are gonna visit. Um, but we can't start going too wild with the prices because people have to still be able to afford to go there. So I hope that Sequoia Lodge will still be that nice middle ground because it's nice because it's kind of one of those hotels that's right in the middle of like the scale of pricing. So yeah, hopefully that won't be too crazy. Um, I'm wondering if we've got some more questions. Oh, this was good. If you could add any one thing to any of the parks, what would it be? This was from Sally, and that's such a good question. Because the thing is, my immediate first thought was Villains Land, which obviously we're getting, and I've been wanting I actually have been wanting a full Villains Park. I was hoping that's the direction we're gonna go. I will go with Villains Land, but I feel like we definitely need more villains representation because they are so popular and they don't get enough. And people love it when the Halloween season they finally get to see the villains. So I think that's going to be absolutely incredible. So I'm so excited for that. I'm glad they're finally doing it. It's one of those things that in the pandemic, I've mentioned this all the time, so sorry to keep going on about it, but they did this online course. It was meant for kids, but it was designed by Disney Imagineers, and it was taking you step by step how they design parks and lands. So it'd be all stuff like what's going to be the general theme, but then you'd get down to like the small details, like what scent are you going to pump into this area? What tiling are you going to use? Which type of doorknob design do you want? So it's really, really great. And I created a whole villains park, and it was amazing. Even if I say so myself. So I'm so excited that we're now actually getting a Villains Land. I would also really love, I don't think they will ever do it, but I would love it if they did a hotel based on Haunted Mansion or Tower of Terror. Tower of Terror is already set up. They know it's what type of hotel it's got to be. They've got the name, they've got everything sorted. I don't know if they would kind of do it because they're worried about would people be too scared. But I don't think it necessarily has to be like scary. It can be more like spooky. And I think so many people are fans of these two things that obviously, like, people aren't going to stay there unless they're fans. Because if you were suddenly like, we've never been on these rides, we don't like spooky things, we're going to take our 3-year-old, and then they're terrified the whole trip, that would be bad. That would not be good. So I think that's probably why they haven't done it. But I'm like, surely people wouldn't do that, right? They researched before. But that would be a dream for me. Like, I would love that. Or if they had some sort of dining experience that was a bit spooky. So either like villains, which I'm hoping maybe in the villain stand they will have a character dining meal, which would be incredible, or like a haunted mansion meal set in like a creepy ballroom, which obviously we've now kind of seen it, the Unlucky Nugget, that you can do that sort of theming and people love it. So hopefully that would happen in the future. Is there anything you would like to see in the Disney parks that we don't currently have and you're like, that's what we need? That's the one. Because I think it'll be so good. Rob said, if you could choose one Disney film to become a show in the West End, oh my god, which would you choose? This is so basic, but I really love Princess and the Frog, and I love everything about Princess and the Frog. I love the storyline, I love the characters, but I particularly love the music and the songs, and I think they would work so well as a West End musical. And it's also that thing of like, I think Tiana is such a popular princess because she is someone who is relatable. It's not like, the older princesses where maybe they're already royalty and stuff like that. Whereas Tiana is just a hard-working woman and she's getting her dream restaurant once she's not a frog anymore. Like, it's so good. So many amazing characters. And I think it's one of the best soundtracks. Like, I'm obsessed with all of the songs from Princess and the Frog, so I would absolutely love it if they did that. But it's hard, isn't it? Is there anything that you think that needs to be a West End musical? I have to say, having seen Hunchback of Notre Dame in concert, they need to immediately do the full show. It was so good. And I do understand why they haven't done it before, because they did actually do a full production in Germany, then they did it off Broadway. I think it was in New Jersey, and people were obsessed. The music, I think it's the best musical score of any Disney musical of all time. It is unbelievable. However, because it's more based on the book, not the Disney film, it's way, way darker. It's definitely not like a kid-friendly family, like, let's go and see, like, Quasimodo be really cute. It's very, very dark. But it was so good. And I'm hoping that, because they've done it in concert, maybe they're testing, like, do we bring this to the West End? And it was unbelievable. It was unreal. So I really hope they will do that, because I haven't stopped listening to the soundtrack since. And, like, on stage, you had a 20-piece choir, as well as all of the cast, full orchestra. Like, it was unbelievable. Like, I literally had goosebumps throughout most of the show. So I would love it if they did that. And again, when it was in concert, there was mostly adults there. I don't actually think I saw any kids. So I think people kind of get that this is more adult in tone, and kids probably wouldn't be interested in this. So I definitely think that could work. I think that would be really good. And Mary says, when are you planning to go back to Disney? I know you've just come back, but wondered about future plans. And yes, so I'm going back in about 6 weeks' time to Disneyland Paris. So I'm going for the Christmas season at the end of November, staying at Sequoia Lodge, which I'm so excited about, and cannot wait to see the Christmas parade. I haven't been for the Christmas season since 2021, and actually when I did that trip, I went the week where they transitioned from Halloween to Christmas, so I got a little bit of both. But I can't wait to go and have Christmas properly the entire trip, and it's just such a lovely time of year. It's so pretty at Disneyland Paris. It's so Christmassy. I think Christmas at Disney is the best Christmas anywhere, because it's like Christmas plus. It's the next level Christmas. So I'm so excited for that, and it's crazy to think that's not that long away either. It's just absolutely wild. So I'm so excited. And yeah, it's going to be such a fun way to, like, enter the Christmas season. Although at the moment, I'm just like, spooky season. I'm so excited, because in my head, it's been spooky season since August. But now, like, the rest of the world are catching up to, oh, it's October, it's now spooky season. I'm so excited. I'm like, yes, they get it. Whereas, like, Disney people are like, it's old hat now. We've been talking about Halloween for ages. Which is so fun. Yes, Rob, I did see the Hunchback of Notre Dame concert a couple months ago, and I thought it was so good. I love it. We literally were talking about it as the same time you were typing as I was talking about it. But yes, I loved it, and obviously it was in concert, so it wasn't the full staging. And I think, like I say, because it is a lot darker story, it's a lot heavier story. I think there are some people that wouldn't enjoy it as much, because it definitely doesn't have there's not many light moments. It's very, very depressing. And I can totally understand how for some people it would just be like, oh, this isn't what I would enjoy. I want to come and be entertained and uplifted, and this is very sad. But the music itself is unbelievable. And I think that on its own is a reason to go and see it. But yeah, I was so lucky to go and see it because I loved it. Yes, Mary, I think Sequoia Lodge is going to be so stunning at Christmas, because, like, it's got that fire, and it's just like, you know, relaxing with in the fire, not in the fireplace, next to the fireplace, and it just feels like a lodge is the best place to spend Christmas. And I feel like Sequoia Lodge is perfect. It's going to be absolutely the perfect place to go to. So it's going to be so much fun. And yes, Mary, I've been to Sanaa, and for vegans, they have quite a few options, which is great. They do have the vegan version of the bread service, and then they have a few different dishes as both starters and main courses, and they even have a dessert as well. So it's really, really good, because there's lots of vegan options, and there's even more vegetarian options. So I think it's a good place because you can kind of, if you're with a group of people, get a few different dishes and all try lots of them, which is so, so handy, which is so good. But yeah, I would say that the bread service wasn't as good the last time I went, but it might be a case that it was just an off day because I still hear lots of people have good experiences at Sanaa, and the stunning view as well that you get is amazing. But it is really nice to have multiple options because sometimes you go and it'll be just one option, and as long as it's something you like, that's fine. But when you have choice, it's like the best thing. It's so good. Stevie, is 2 weeks in Disney World followed by 2 weeks in Universal overkill in your view? I don't think so. I don't think you need 2 weeks in Universal. That's the only caveat I would say. If you were also going, I'm gonna have like a day at the outlet, I'm gonna go to Volcano Bay, stuff like that. I still don't think you would need 2 weeks. But you could, if you were doing other things like Kennedy Space Center, all of these things, you could absolutely go to Orlando for a month. I think Universal itself, you could probably do like 5 to 7 days, and then you'd probably have done everything and had an amazing experience. But it's nice to do a longer trip because then you don't have to be in the parks like so long. You could do like a half day and then go and relax and do something else. And it gives you the best of both worlds because you're getting all the excitement of the parks, you're getting absolutely everything done in the parks, but you're also getting time to relax, which is so, so, so nice. Because sometimes when you do 2 weeks, you come home and you're like, I've had the best time ever. I'm exhausted. I need a holiday to recover from the holiday. So if you go for a longer period of time, you get to do that. Or a lot of people will do like the theme parks, and then maybe they'll go to a beach resort in Florida or a cruise, and then they're kind of getting that relaxation as well as the theme park. So I think that's always super fun as well. Super great idea. Thank you so much, Alison, for coming. It's been lovely to hear from you and lovely to see you, which is so good. I had another question, which I thought was a good question, which was about packing tips and general tips for traveling from the UK to Orlando. And with the packing, I always try and be mindful of packing. I'd be like, don't overpack. I always overpack because I'm a what if packer. I just can't break the habit of like, but what if I need this? And the thing is, it's America. It's not like I'm going to the middle of the Amazon jungle. I'd be able to buy things if I left something behind. Desperately needed it. But I would say packing cubes make all the difference. Absolutely get packing cubes because you fit so much more into your case with them. And it's also nice to have things organised. So no, like that's all the clothes, that's all the toiletries, and everything's just in its little place. And I found it so, so helpful. I would also say some essentials. Definitely take a fan with you. Like you will need it. It will make your life so much better. You will enjoy it. Something I took this trip was these Dr. Scholl. Is that his name? The little footman, Dr. Scholl. You have these little booties that you can buy off of Amazon, and they have like different ingredients in them. You put them on, and then you strap them to your feet, and you leave it for about half an hour, and then they make your feet all like tingle. And then what I did is I took them off, and I put Voltarol gel on the bottom of my feet, and then I put the compression socks on. And every single morning you'd wake up, and your feet were like new feet. It was amazing, and that helped so much because like, you know, it's a lot of walking, it's a lot of back-to-back walking, but doing that will make such a difference. And just make it so much more comfy. So yeah, I would say try not to overpack, but especially because you're going to want to bring things back. That's the most important thing, and that's actually something that does help me not go totally well with packing, is needing case space for all the merch. And stuff like toiletries, what I will do is use partly in the UK, the toiletries I'm going to take with me, and leave enough for the trip so that when I'm out there, I can leave all of those behind because they're pretty much finished at that point. And that helps me save so much weight and space on the way back. So that's like a really easy way of like just saving space and more importantly, weight for the merchandise you're going to buy. But I always think travel tips to the UK to Orlando, I would always give yourself plenty of time to get to the airport. Although this time, I ended up getting there comically early. Because when the tube strike was on, I thought a lot of people are going to be on the M25, which they were. So I'm glad I did give myself extra time, but I got there way too early. But luckily, the time passed very quickly. But I would absolutely always do that. I would pack things like charging cables, etc., in your hand luggage. So if you've got like a cabin case, just in case during your travel day you need to charge anything, you can just get it out, get your cables out, plug things in, or take like a power bank with you, which will be amazing. I also download some stuff on my phone, like Netflix or albums or playlists on Spotify, so that I've got some entertainment. I always take a few snacks on the plane, partly because just in case I don't load my vegan meal, and then at least I've got something to eat. But it's also that thing of, if you don't particularly like the meal that you get on the plane or something, at least you've got something to snack on. Or if there's like any delays, it's just nice to be able to go, okay, I'm going to have to get hungry, or like be thinking, when are they going to serve the food? Because you've got stuff with you. And I would say if you've got a range of entertainment, I think that can help, because sometimes, like on the plane, you'll watch like 2 or 3 films and then you'll think, oh, I don't want to watch another film. So if you can then switch to a Kindle or listen to some music or play a game, it's just nice to have a little bit of variety. And something I found really helpful was actually getting up on the plane. Like this time flying out, I sat in an aisle seat, which I never ever do. I always sit in a window seat. I actually think flying out aisle seat is now top tier for me. I've changed my mind, because if you're not planning to sleep, the aisle seat is great because you could just get up, wander around, stretch, and that made such a difference during this trip. And I ended up speaking to the cabin crew for like an hour, all different people, because I was conscious I didn't want to take up their time, but and they also started the conversations. I didn't want to just be like gabbing away. So lovely, so friendly, so nice. Didn't even realise how long I'd been stood up for, but that made the time pass really quickly. And just being able to move and stuff was nice compared to just being sat in one spot. However, I think window seats are top tier for overnight flights because you get a little bit more space, a little bit easier to try and sleep. I can never sleep on planes, so it doesn't really make any difference. But aisle seats, you will sometimes find when people are walking up and down the aisle, if the aisles are quite narrow, they might accidentally knock you a little bit and it can wake you up. So I would say aisle seat if you want to get up and move about and be energized during your flight over there, but on night flights coming home, do like a window seat if you can, which is absolutely perfect. And yeah, just take multiple forms of entertainment and some snacks, and I think you'll be fine. And actually, I think both of the flights kind of went quite quickly this time, which is great. Actually, on the way home, it was almost like too quick because I was like, I want to try and get some sleep because I've got to drive when I get back to the UK. And when we got on the plane, he was like, oh, it's going to take just over 7 hours because there's a really strong wind. And I was like, we can calm down with that, can't we? Because I'm like, by the time we get on the plane and we take off and they serve the meal and then they clear everything away, we're only going to have maybe like 5 hours left of to try and sleep. But I didn't really sleep and I drove home okay, which was good. But yeah, I think it's really good to kind of hear how different people have different tips. I would say if you don't like airport crowds, and airports can be just quite a stressful or anxiety inducing place because it's like very busy and stuff. I think paying for stuff like fast track going through security can be really helpful. But I was quite lucky because I was at the crack of dawn. There was very few people going through security, so it was fine. And also if there's like a little restaurant that you particularly like, you can go and sit in there, have some drinks, stuff like that. If you want to lounge, that can be quite nice because there's less people in there, it's not as busy, there's not loads of announcements, they can be more calming. I can't believe that I had to find out that Wagamama's had left by turning up, and it was literally like a Scooby-Doo moment. I was like, I couldn't believe it because it's been there for years. It's what I do every single trip. I go to Wagamama's, that's who I am. And I couldn't go. I was so sad. We worked it out. It wasn't too bad. It was fine. We survived. Stevie, this is a great question. Any tips for a fearful flyer? A slight bit of turbulence makes me think the plane is falling from the sky. And do you know what's really interesting? I went through a period when I was younger of being really frightened of flying. And I think what really helped me is I think I ended up watching a documentary where they were talking about like fear of flying and turbulence and stuff, and it really helped me relax a bit because it was kind of that thing where they were talking about turbulence is kind of like, you know, if you're on a road and it's a little bit bumpy, it's kind of like that. So they also talk about it's a bit like being in jello. So planes will always kind of shake like this. But it's not ever dangerous for the plane. Like, they're totally built for it. They're used to experiencing it. and it's kind of unnerving for us. But actually, it's nothing to be worried about, and it's kind of that thing. You're like, the plane's being held in the jello, so yes, you're like wobbling a little bit, but it's totally safe because it's being held inside that jello sort of thing. And I think that kind of helped me a bit. And then it was one of those weird things that I don't know why, but just something switched in my brain where I was like, the pilot's got this. Like, I can't control what's going to happen, but they're fully trained and he knows what he's doing. And if he's fine, or she, and the cabin crew are all fine, then I'll be fine. And it's funny because now I quite enjoy flying. But it is one of those horrible things, isn't it? Because to get anywhere you like, you have to fly. And when you have a fear of it, it is really stressful. And I think that's the thing. I think people who don't have a phobia, do people have no phobias? Are there people out there that have no phobias at all? Because I'm like, that would be amazing. Obviously can't ever understand it because it's, you know, it doesn't always make sense. Although I don't think fear of flying doesn't make sense. I think it totally makes sense. Like, because it is a scary thing. But I think knowing like turbulence is completely normal, completely fine. It doesn't ever have like a negative impact on the plane itself, and it's just one of those things that's a bit weird and uncomfortable for us. Really helped. And like the jello thing, I was like, okay, we're just being held here, just wobbling about. Which really helped. And I think that's the thing, if there's anything you can do as well that's distracting, so whether it's like listening to something that where you can kind of like really get into it or something like that can help, because it's just it's not fun, is it? Because it's a necessary part of getting places, but it's just like, this is not the one. This is not the one. It's the worst. And I know they do the actual courses. I've never been on one, but you can do a fear of flying course, and they kind of take you onto a plane. They talk you through how everything works. You get to speak to pilots and cabin crew, and then they actually do like a short little flight where they kind of talk you through everything, so you can kind of have a better. I suppose for some people, knowing exactly what's going on helps, and I don't know, for other people maybe it doesn't. So I'd rather not know. But I know it's stuff like when I was nervous of flying, even like the noises on the plane would worry me, because I'd be like, what the hell's that? What's going on? And then it's stuff like, oh, it's just the wheels coming up, or it's this certain thing. Knowing that, I think, can kind of help, which is always good, because it's like, oh, okay, I don't need to worry about that now, because I know what it is, which is good. Rob says, I'm worried I'm going to put on so much weight from eating out whilst in Disney World. Do you find this happens? Or is it offset by the amount of walking? And yeah, I actually find it gets offset by the amount of walking. And also in Disney World, because it's so hot, I find you never eat as much as you think you're going to eat because your appetite is suppressed as well. But yeah, I definitely find, in fact, I've actually gone to Disney World before and lost weight, even though I've eaten way more, because you are walking so much and you're so hot from sweating. You're so hot and sweating, so you're just like, right, I'm just losing everything, which is great, isn't it? It's perfect, because you're like, I can eat whatever I want and not put on weight. This is like, Disney's like a utopia. Everything's happy, everything's joyful, you don't put on weight even though you're eating all the good food. I'm like, this is literally perfection. Like, we all need to be going to Disney all the time. But this is the thing, I do genuinely think Disney is good for your physical and mental health, because, like, physically, you're active all day long. When you're not walking, you're standing, you're doing all of these different things, you're getting in and out of things, you're doing, like, lots of different movements. It's like a little workout. If you go on, like, some of the rides, like, Toy Story Mania, and you've got to do, like, the actions, you're getting an arm workout. It's brilliant. And then also, you just feel so good. Everything's positive, everything's uplifting. You don't hear anything that's happening in the world. There's no badness. It's wonderful. I think they should prescribe trips to Disney to people, because I'm like, it's the best place you can go. I genuinely think it's amazing. And that's the thing. This is why I say I think adults benefit from going to Disney more than kids, because kids, obviously, it's so exciting to see the characters you love, have fun on rides, but it can also be very tiring, very overwhelming, overstimulating. And I can understand how every single second for a kid it might not be fun, because you're stood in queues, it's hot, there's jet lag, you're being whizzed around on rides after you've eaten food. Like, it's not always every single second the best thing. But as an adult, because you kind of can rationalise some of those things, it's easier for us to cope with. But also, you get so many benefits from it, and you just feel so good, and you come away just feeling amazing. And I'm like, I think people don't talk about that enough. And I think that's why people get addicted to kind of going to Disney, because other holidays that you go on are amazing because you see incredible things, you experience different cultures, meet new people, but there's nothing quite like Disney. And I think it's also the way you come away feeling, and also that bubble. You know, enough can't be said for that bubble, because like we were saying earlier, like the world has gone crazy. Like it's very, very miserable. It's very depressing, and I feel like as well, not just that, but everything's difficult now. Like all companies seem to be like terrible at their customer service. Like I'm not even kidding. I feel like I have a full-time job chasing up things, and I'm fed up of that. Can't be bothered. Go to Disney, everything's brilliant. And you're in the bubble, there's no badness, there's no news, there's no. I cannot speak highly enough of how great that is. And just giving your brain a break, and you're like, oh, things are nice. And then you come back to reality, and you're like, this is terrible. We immediately need to all be in Disney 24/7. But yeah, I think that is the real benefit of going. And I think that's, like I said, why people want to go each time. And I also think every time you go to Disney, it is a different experience. And I know people that don't go to Disney just think it must be the same holiday every single time. And I'm like, nope. Because there's always new things to experience. There's always like hotels you haven't stayed in, restaurants you haven't eaten in, characters you haven't met. There's always like new things, as well as the extra things they bring to the park every single year. So it really is different every single time you visit. And like this time, like going for a week was completely different to 2 weeks, but it was really great to experience that. And like going to the Art of Marvel hotel was a completely different experience to other hotels, and like it just never gets boring. It never ever gets boring. It's just so good. But yeah, I wouldn't worry, Rob. I think you're gonna be absolutely fine. You're not gonna put the weight on. It doesn't happen at Disney. Calories don't count. I don't know how it works. It's literally magic. Disney magic. Which is so, so, so good. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. This has been so fun to give you a little taste of the trips. And like I say, this Wednesday we are having day one of Disney World go out. So it's Epcot and Magic Kingdom in one day, which was absolutely glorious. It was so good. This week I'm also going to get up the review for the Unlucky Nuggets so you can see what that's like, because it's so fun. And then next Wednesday the Disneyland Paris vlogs start, which is so exciting. It's so fun to have two vlog series going out at the exact same time, because I've never experienced that before. It's just such joy. And it's so nice as well, because where they were both during the Halloween season, to have them out in October when it is Halloween is also amazing. So that's going to be so much fun. Like I said, the Halloween Horror Nights vlog has just gone out. So if you are looking for some Halloween themed things, that is absolutely perfect. The challenge is going to be so much fun to see how it all goes, how much we manage to stretch the budget, all the different things we get to experience. So yeah, it's just going to be such a joy. So I cannot wait to show you, because they were both really amazing trips and both very different from each other. So I can't wait to kind of show you the contrast. And yes, it's just been such a joy. So thank you so much for joining. And it's always so fun to chat. This is one of my favourite things to do. We'll have another live stream at the end of this month. This one should have been the end of September, but we pushed it back so that I would be back from Disneyland Paris. We could talk about that. But yes, at the end of this month we will do another live stream, which is so much fun. The last Sunday of the month. So I think it's just before Halloween, which is so fun. I love this spooky season. I think it's the 26th, if my brain remembers correctly. And the only reason I know that is I do not know dates very well. But on the 25th, it's a Saturday, because I'm going to see Inside Number 9 in Woking. So I know the Sunday is the 26th. But yeah, it's always such a joy. It's the best getting to chat and interact. So I'm so, so happy about that. And thank you so much for joining. It's so, so lovely of you. And hopefully at some point we will do one of these without there being some sort of technical difficulty at the beginning. That would be the dream. But I hope you have an amazing rest of the month. Do come check out the vlogs. Do come over to Instagram. That's the best place to contact me. That's normally where I do the messaging. So if you ever have anything to ask or you want to chat, do DM me on Instagram. I'm also trying to do TikToks more. I have gone down a TikTok hole. I can't stop watching it. It's incredible. And I'm trying to put more things on there, and do them slightly different to on YouTube and Instagram. So do come check that out as well. So we're going everywhere. We're going multi-platform. It's amazing. But thank you so much for joining your Sunday, for spending your Sunday evening with me and joining me, which has been so wonderful. And thank you so much for all your amazing questions, your tips, your advice, your reviews. It's been awesome. So until next time, have a most magical day. We never signed the live streams off like that, but maybe we should start doing it. We should do it everywhere. Thank you so much. See you soon. This is how you know I'm a millennial, because then it's like I don't know how to turn it off. This is when you look really old and like ungraceful when being like, I need some glasses or something. See you soon, guys. Bye. Bye.